Today on America's Day at the Races, it's a special day in Hot Springs, Arkansas, to honor a champion and fan favorite. It's Whitmore Day at Oaklawn with a special appearance from the 2020 Sprint champion and 7-time stakes winner at Oaklawn in the renamed Whitmore Stakes. Saturday may be Bob's Edge graded stakes debut, but he looked like a potential leader of the division in his King Cotton win in his 4-year-old debut. In the Essex handicap, Plainsman proved he has plenty left to give in his Grade 3 Razorback win to kickstart his 7-year-old campaign, a win that put him over the $1 million mark in earnings. And at Aqueduct, 3-year-old fillies are featured in the Cicada. Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott's hoping a return to a sprint distance will be the right move for a daughter of Triple Crown champ American Pharoah, who broke her maiden sprinting in late December. All that and more coming up on a Saturday edition of America's Day at the Races on FS2. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Sun shining both here in South Ozone Park and Hot Springs, Arkansas. Tremendous cards at both racetracks. And we're going to bring it all to you here on FS2. Greg Wolf alongside New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. Great cards we have to look forward to. Of course, the Whitmore. It's going to be fun to see him back on the racetrack leading the post parade, but a very good group that's going to line up in that race.
And if ever a horse deserved to have a race named after him, especially down in Arkansas, it was Whitmore. Such a popular horse there. A horse that had major accomplishments at Oaklawn, but also won some very big races out there. Not just the Breeders' Cup, but a Grade 1 at Saratoga as well. A tremendous horse, and he's being honored with an excellent race.
Believer in Bob's Edge, or does he need to show you more?
I mean, I believe he ran very well last time. I don't think you ever want to anoint a horse off of one big performance. You couldn't have asked for more out of his 4-year-old debut. If he can continue on like that, he could be a real player as the year progresses.
That's just one of many stakes we're going to bring you this afternoon. Conditions fast in New York, fast at Oaklawn, and Tampa Bay Race 10 is going to start that cross-country pick 5. That's on the turf. Their turf course is firm to begin that sequence. Look for cross-country in your wager tab, in your Naira Bets account. Of course, all the action you can play with Naira Bets. Get signed up, started, play along. Go to NairaBets.com, download the app, and take advantage of that $200 deposit match sign up bonus. That's the code to use, Stakes 200, to get everything going and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Here in New York, our feature, 3-year-old fillies, as we mentioned, sprinting 6 furlongs. And Rosebug, she looked very impressive on a sloppy race track, which she won at 7 furlongs. Then they tried her long in the Busanda.
Yeah, and not only did she not end up doing well going long, she was also chasing outside on a day where the inside was a significant advantage. I don't think it was the wet track that made her run big in this race, because if you look at her debut, she ran behind a horse named Gerrymander, who came back and won her attempt and was second Echo Zulu in the Frizette. She met a good field that day. She's a good dirt horse. She's probably better going shorter, and with a racetrack that's been playing fairly, I think she's the horse to beat. But Greg, I don't believe there's one horse in this field that has no chance.
And it looks like there's potentially some very talented lightly raced fillies in this group, and she's among that group. She's getting back to sprinting, as mentioned. She's 5-2. She will break from the rail with Jose Lezcano for trainer Bill Mott. Tremendous day, of course, ahead, celebrating not just a champion, but one of the most popular horses we have seen in Hot Springs in many, many years. With more, let's go to Gary Stevens.
Yeah, guys, beautiful day in Hot Springs, Arkansas. About 72 degrees right now. Sun is out, obviously. The infield is full. Just a great crowd here. More people here today than there was on President's Day. That's saying something about Whitmore Day. Guys, our Whitmore Stakes today. Let's talk about Hollis. I think he's the horse to beat. When he drew the 9-post position, he holds all the aces, and all 4 aces. I'll tell you what, this race on the 20th of February against No Shoes, No Shirt, it was a mismatch. When he draws the outside, he stays out of trouble, keeps the dirt out of his face, and he's able to control things. This was 5.5 furlongs, getting another half furlong. But listen, at the end of the day, he was widening at the end on No Shoes, No Shirt. The further they went, the further he was going to get beat. So he's the one to beat today in the Whitmore Stakes, guys.
Well, Gary, we also have that Essex handicap in the older horse division, and it's a rematch of that Grade 3 Razorback. Top 2 finishers, Plainsman, Thomas Shelby, going head-to-head again. Not much separated them when they met last time.
Yeah, we've got two great feature races today, and the Essex today. I hope that we see the same type of thing that we saw in the Razorback when Blainsman and Thomas Shelby fought it out from the word go. Joel Rosario was very aggressive early on, took it to Thomas Shelby. Thomas Shelby was very tough on the lead. He was tough to get by, tough customer. In the meantime, Popular One finishes third in the race. But look, he was never getting to the top two all the way through the stretch. It became their own private match race early on in the race. Well, there's some other competitors today that are going to make it just a little bit tougher on Plainsman and Thomas Shelby. Guys,
all right, Gary, thank you. Yeah, Warriors Charge coming off kind of rejuvenating performance last time out as a 6-year-old. He's obviously a danger in that race. Those two horses, though, Thomas Shelby, Plainsman in that Razorback, neck and neck just about the entire way around the racetrack, and even the gallop out all the way around, they were still neck and neck.
Yeah, no, they were maybe the best two going in there, and they put in a good show. And Joel Rosario was put into a spot. I think he knew with Plainsman that he had to be aggressive, because if he wasn't, Thomas Shelby was going to be able to dictate. You wonder if with Warriors Charge in the race today, if maybe Plainsman can rate a little bit, which might even make him tougher.
Very good Grade 3 Essex in that older horse division coming up later. It's a tremendous card at Oaklawn. These late pick fives, both in New York and Hot Springs, worth going after on these Saturday cards. We're going to take a timeout. Chad Brown, it's been an incredible winter meet for him. He's got a chance at a few more this afternoon. We'll take a look at the first of those chances coming up when we kick off the pick five momentarily. Stay with us.
DeMarchelier offers breeders a rare opportunity as the only son of emerging sire of sires, Dubois, standing in Kentucky. His picture-perfect pedigree includes 10 Grade 1 winners under the first 3 dams. Dubois and his sons and grandsons at stud have established stars on both turf and dirt. Now his first foals have arrived. DeMarchelier, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, program brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Let's get into action from Hot Springs. Race 4 on the card. Mile and a 16th, $100,000 allowance race. And staying out late. Asmussen, Rosario, taking a ton of money right now.
So unusual.
4-year-old debut.
Well, I mean, I guess it's not a great move for this barn off a long layoff. I got an idea. What about Majestic West, second off a layoff? Dueled last time. Barn has good numbers, second off extended layoffs. Thought this horse might be a little bit interesting at a bit of a price, as opposed to a horse at a short price coming off of a long layoff that they're more betting because of the connections, right?
Yeah, it certainly appears that way. Although last time in this level, going long, did miss by a nose with an 82 buyer, but coming off the bench as well now.
No, that race would make him very tough in here, no doubt about it. But what's wrong with the 6? He's I don't know. He's got to go a mile 16th, whatever.
That's Pat's Property. John Herron, back-to-back short defeats, running second each of those last two. Let's bring in Jonathan Kinchin on how to play this fourth, coming up from Oaklawn. JK, how you doing?
I'm well, Wolfie. Thank you for asking. I wonder if Andy's wondering how well I'm doing.
Oh, he is.
Hi, Andy. Okay, good. Look, I'm going to go to the outside. We talk about it all the time when we watch Oaklawn and talk about these races at Oaklawn. I think tactical speed towards the outside is probably the most advantageous trip you can have at Oaklawn. Riders there are a little bit more aggressive than other places around the country. And so I think that being in a position where you can see what's happening to the inside of you, but still have enough horse underneath you to be able to put yourself in the right position can help. Now, I don't know if the 10, what are we doing here? Luma Tanati? I'm sure someone can help me with that. This horse ran so good in his debut, like stakes type good in the debut for Chad Brown. Obviously had some issues, attended a fast pace that day, earned a fast final figure, then came back for Ron Moquett in his first start, didn't run particularly well, is drawn to the outside, does have blinkers on, and is a price where I'm willing to find out if he can still run. If this horse was 4-1, 3-1, 2-1, off the break, off the trainer change, that's not a big enough price for me to try to find out. At 8-1, I'm willing to take a look to see if this horse can run a little bit. The other horse I'll mention, the 4, Eastside Cool, 6-1 on the board. This is a horse that's moving into the barn of Steve Asmussen. I like horses to get claimed a lot. It means that trainers see something that they would try to adjust. This horse ran for 30 for Joe Sharp. They were taken for 30, then ran for 30 again. Steve Asmussen hops in. I do think that this is a horse that probably has a little bit of ability, especially moving to a Hall of Famers barn. But my top pick will be the 10, but I'm going to keep my eye on the 4 as well.
Well, the 10's never been beat going long.
In 3 minutes he will be, but I am concerned how Jonathan's doing. I'm glad to hear he's doing well. I don't know. I'm a little concerned that he picked the 10, but, listen, Steve Asmussen, I want to give some numbers off the claim at Oaklawn. Because with Asmussen, I really want to separate them by jurisdictions, because otherwise you get caught up in 14,000 horses running. He is 17 for 128 off the claim on the dirt at Oaklawn over the last 5 years with a 94-cent ROI. That's 13%. That's for every $2 bet. In routes, he's 5 for 52, 10% and 85-cent ROI. Doesn't mean the horse can't win, but his numbers off the claim at Oaklawn are not good.
Eastside Cool off the claim here for that barn, 6-1. Little cool on the board, too. He's got leading rider Francisco Arrieta aboard, so he's got a horse who's going to be forward in there. He's got staying out late, the 5, who is likely going to be a stalking type.
So here's also another question for you, Greg. Is it a negative sign that Arrieta is riding the 4 for Asmussen and Rosario is riding the 5, or are people misinterpreting it and it doesn't matter? I tend to think those things matter less than the odds usually reflect, but that may have something to do with why the 4 is a much bigger price than the 5. Also, the 4 is coming out of a win in a conditional claiming race.
I'd usually want to follow Ron Anderson.
Yeah, and I mean, if they had the choice, listen, I would have chosen the 5 as well, but we'll see. Not that I love the 5. I like the 7.
Joel Rosario.
I like Majestic West. That's where I'm going.
Look, the 10, this was an expensive son of Into Mischief. He's had big gaps. He's only had 2 starts, almost a year between starts. We'll see if he can run it all here going long for the first time after 2 sprints. He did win his debut sprinting for Ron Moquett, David Cabrera aboard. We're set for the 4th from Oaklawn. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're off. Eastside Cool and Pat's Property, Palace Coup, Sea Falls, and Majestic West. Lamu Tanati in the center. Then comes Beer Chaser, followed by Staying Out Late, and the early trailer is Myopic. Pat's Property and Sea Falls go fast up front. Sea Falls outside, Pat's Property at the rail. They are 2 lengths in front of Lamu Tanati and Eastside Cool. Another 3 back to Majestic West. Palace Coup is at the rail. He is 6 at this point and 6 lengths behind. Then comes Beer Chaser, followed by Staying Out Late, who has 9 lengths to make up, and the trailer is Myopic. Lots of pace on up the backstretch, sent jointly by Pat's Property and Sea Falls. Pat's Property is way in the center of the racetrack. He's in about the 2.5 or 3 path, and now he's getting away from Sea Falls. It's a full length. East Side Cool is galloping nicely. He'll be up into second soon and 2.5 from the front. Lamu Tanati has 5 lengths to make up. He's a length in front of Palace Coup. 2 back 2. Staying out late and Majestic West with Beer Chaser. Myopic is beginning to run, and now Staying Out Late has dropped back to last as they round the far turn, and they are bunching up, and Pat's Property has the lead. But there are stretch runners coming, and the first one is Palace Coup, who comes all the way up into run-in 2 second. Meanwhile, to the outside, and Beer Chaser. Myopic draws within 4 of the lead. New leader, top of the stretch, Palace Coup takes it over, but East Side Cool cuts the corner, and now he's alongside Palace Coup. These two are matching strides. East Side Cool drifting out towards Palace Coup, but now he's a length in front. Palace Coup battles on. Pat's Property, a great third, but it's down to East Side Cool or Palace Coup, and East Side Cool came out and hip-checked Palace Coup. We'll see East Side Cool pass the wire first. East Side Cool beat Palace Coup. Pat's Property was third, and Beer Chaser finished fourth.
Wow, East Side Cool crosses the wire first, but I would be shocked if this horse does not come down.
Yeah, I understand, to be fair, that Arietta was hitting him righty. So to be fair, it probably was more the horse than him. I don't, you know, if he intentionally came out to meet the other horse, it was a mistake, and it was there that he just completely eliminated the 3 from having a chance to win. I think they should take this horse down as well. It was a good call by Jonathan, but he's probably going to come down in here. You know, you could say he got a very good trip before, but they were moving up front. So, yeah, he saved all the ground, those things, but they were moving up front. And it's funny, Palace Coup figured to be the speed. They rated him, and he ran much better. He'll probably get the win.
Well, looks like Diodoro and Cohen likely to be put up for the win here. We will keep you posted. Unofficially 4-3-6, but East Side Cool drifting way out, certainly impeding the trip of the 3 big time late in the stretch there. Back to New York. And the late pick 5 beginning in race 6 at 6.5 furlongs. New York bred. Maiden special weight. Coming up at Aqueduct in New York. And let's head down to Maggie Wolfendale for more.
And I almost feel as though it could be Saratoga, given the field size and the first-time starters. This is a race where I've had my work cut out for me, but let's take a look at your favorite taking all the money and making his second start for the ever-dangerous Chad Brown barn is number 4, Tin Pan Alley, who ran really well after not breaking that alertly, having a little bit of interference that day up at the spa, and rallying and making his way through the field, never giving up and never really tiring, considering that Rodney, who subsequently has become a stakes winner, was doing all the work on the front end. So this guy ran really well in retrospect, though I thought he would be quite quick away from the stall. So I still think that. I still think this horse should show more speed than that first race would indicate. He hasn't done much growing, though, in the interim, since we haven't seen him in 7 months. So, over that, I should say. I just wish there was some progression. And furthermore, and this is Chad Brown, who, you know, obviously his horses off layoffs tend to look fit and they tend to deliver on the racetrack. I wish he looked a little bit more tucked up. He can win. Based on his first race, he can definitely get the job done. But I just wish there was a little bit of more forward progression, a little more growing up, and that he looked more fit, because he looked more fit in his debut relative to this start here. Some first-time starters that honestly just caught my eye. We'll take a look, though, at number 3, My Gal Val, 1 of 2 for George Weaver. They paid quite a bit for this son of Brody's Cause. Unraced dam, mostly sprinters, some won on the turf. The dam, though, half to Julia Tuttle, who was the dam of Tom's Dad Todd, a multiple graded stakes winner on the dirt going long. She was a stakes winner on the turf. So it's kind of a very much a swing pedigree. Watching that, now albeit all the way back in May of last year, I thought he moved a lot like a turf horse. I kind of think that still. He looks more like a turf sprinter to me, to be honest. He's really well-rounded. He looks as though there could be some speed in there, too, as he does wear blinkers first time out here. But I think, too, he's going to benefit from a race. Just a little bit of a heavier, robust individual that might need to race into fitness. Now, George's other firster in here is number 9, Laws, the son of Twirling Candy. Damn, a little bit more turf, not much production out of her thus far. Good looking horse. I don't know, maybe he can't run it all, but I like the way he's put together. He's bigger, he's nicely balanced. I like what I'm seeing from him. Now we'll see what he gets to do here. Maybe he's a horse that does want to run maybe a little bit longer than this. He's a little bit more tubular and longer in his frame. But I've liked what I've seen from him. Same thing goes for the Kelly Breen first-time starter, number 10, Touch of a Buzz. I know they only paid $50,000 for the son of Outwork, and the majority of the pedigree says turf and synthetic on the bottom side, and maybe that is what he wants to do, but he's not telling me that here in the paddock. Big, solid, good-looking, again, wearing blinkers first time out here, but I honestly like what I'm seeing from this horse quite a bit here at a big price. Guys?
All right, Maggie, good to hear from you. Thank you. We'll get to the post break here coming up in a moment. Odds on 4-5 in Tin Pan Alley for Chad Brown, making start number 2 after that really nice debut at Saratoga.
It was a good debut, and it was fast enough to beat the horses that have run, and that was back in Saratoga. So with the routine improvement in the last 7 months, and Chad Brown's barn is firing on all cylinders, he's the horse to beat. He broke a length slow in that race, which, well, I didn't think it was brushed to the start. I thought he was just slow, and then Irad took him back. But he could have more speed, as Maggie suggested.
Still waiting on a decision in Hot Springs. We'll let you know as soon as we hear.
We've decided he's coming down.
Here's the 1, Gold Bullion, first-time starter.
Yeah, there are a lot of firsters in this race. This one is more turf on the dam side.
Break from post 6. There was a change as expected. 4 taken down in that 4th at Oaklawn. Here's the 1A, going to break towards the outside.
The second half of this entry, another first-time star. This one worked a very mediocre 10 2/5 at the Ocala sale last year.
Luca at the Spa, son of Freud.
His name for a friend of our son?
Could be.
Could be.
Barrel
or
of Quests.
An enemy of ours, depending on look at.
The rail for this David Donk runner cuts back.
Yeah, he's found himself a tough race cutting back. He's going to have to improve a lot.
All right, tell me the story with the 3.
I just am amazed. A Brody's Cause with no dam side pedigree, more of a turf side that sold for a lot of money at Timonia. Must have worked well. We'll see. No money.
He sold for $290,000, stands for 5. Here's the big favorite.
That would be a lot.
Looks impressive at 4-5.
Yeah, I mean, these horses always seem right now. Maggie had some questions in the paddock. We'll see. 4-5 is a little short, though. There are some horses near can run.
Crawford County, Rudy Rodriguez, second-time starter.
He is one of 2 horses sired by takeover target today. Pretty incredible that 2 would be on the same card.
57-1 here. A-lister gets blinkers and Lasix for start number 2.
If you name a horse A-lister, he needs to do better than finish 8th, beating 36 3/4 lengths in his debut.
Yeah, and
he's moving down the alphabet.
Today. Modern Midas, he had an excuse against a very good horse in his debut, at least a horse who ran big in his debut.
He had a massive excuse, and it was not his fault. He got completely limited the break and made a significant run in there. He is a massive overlay in here and is far and away, in my opinion, the biggest threat to the favorite.
Flowing River, start number 2 for Tony Dutrow.
They thought enough of this New York bred to run him against in an open company race, a very tough maiden race, the winner of which will probably be running in our Bayshore. And he didn't do any running in there for breaking the length slowly, but that's an ambitious spot. Probably can run.
Another first-timer for George Weaver here, son of Twirling Candy.
Chad Brown is all over this race. He trained the dam of this horse. She was a nice turf horse, though.
Kelly Breen with a first-timer next door has a bullet 3-furlong move out of the gate. Touch of a Buzz.
I thought this horse's 2-year-old work was pretty good. There's some turf, there's some dirt, and this one's a half to a horse the Chad Brown campaign. He's all over this race.
23-1 on the 10. Here's the 11. Another first-timer, this one for Mark Hennig.
May this be the one? Don't know. Don't think so. Not taking a lot of money, but a tough race take a lot of money.
And a couple that deserve a look outside. Eminency, who was just second last time, that was at a mile, was the favorite.
I understand that he has the second biggest, or actually the biggest figures in this race. But horses like the 7 and 8, I think, have upside, particularly the 7. What's his upside? I think we've seen who he is. I am not a fan.
And then Riz Angel, Kendrick Carmouche for Carlos Martin, gets blinkers on, was coming out of that best idea race as well.
Yeah, no, he comes out of the same race as the 7 does, and the 7 only beat him 3/4 of a length. The problem is the 7 had real trouble in there. It was a first-time starter, but he's not without talent.
15-1, but this is the one everyone's got to beat. Tin Pan Alley was beat by, as mentioned earlier on the show here, Rodney. Rodney's gone on to win 3 in a row, including the Damon Runyon. Whittington Park, who was third, who Tin Pan Alley finished ahead of, came back to win by 7.5 lengths. And even the 5th place finisher, 3 starts later, would come back to win out of this race.
This was a solid race. There's nothing wrong with the Fig. Horses have improved out of the race, and you saw that break. I didn't see any trouble watching the head-on. Maybe others will see it differently. And this horse made a significant run in here and kept on running behind a horse, Rodney, who we've seen twice in recent days keep on running and winning races. He's a legitimate favorite. The barn is going very well. But having said that, there may be some other runners in this race. And in a big field, there's 14 horses in here. A lot can go wrong. You've got a horse that broke slowly first time out. You always have to worry a little bit that they may break slowly again. And I no argument he's the horse to beat, but I think 4 to 5 is a little overdoing it.
Power of his barn.
Yep.
And the power of the race he's coming out of, too. 7.5-month layoff, though, for start number 2. Meanwhile, Modern Midas, that compromise beginning against, off that debut from Best Idea, we were talking up, and a lot of people thought Best Idea maybe had the ability to be a really, really good New York bred for Todd Pletcher.
Well, let me just say to you, okay, he was awful here the other day. I don't think that takes away from the fact that he ran big first time out.
Not at all.
And I don't think you're saying that either.
And he had the rail that day?
He just didn't show up. I mean, if he came back and ran a 73 buyer and was all out to be second, I might say, maybe that race wasn't as good. He ran so badly that you just feel like something went wrong. And this horse really had trouble at the start. I think he's very, very tough in here.
9-1 here with more. Let's go to Maggie.
Really quick, Modern Midas, talked to Tony Dutro, said that he put him in that race just because he needed a race, not because they were overly ambitious and thought he had a wealth of talent. But number 7, Modern Midas, I liked his appearance in the paddock. He looked like he should be quicker than that first race, and I thought he made a significant middle move and then was just green down the lane while lugging in. We'll see if he's more professional, and I do think he will be a bit quicker. I'm going to take a shot with him, guys.
That's the biggest surprise to me of this whole day, and we've had races on earlier when we were on the air, that he's 9-1. I thought he'd take more money coming out of that race.
I completely
and that
agree.
trouble.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's like they're blind to the rest of the field, and they're only betting the 4, and that's a mistake. I'm not in any way saying I don't like Tin Pan Alley and don't think he's a horse to beat.
Almost off that race, should he not be second choice in here?
I think he should be the clear second choice in here. I am shocked that he's twice the price of the number 12. And I wish somebody, the 12 just went down to 9-2 and he's 9-1. I wish somebody would let me take 8-5 that he finishes ahead of the 12. I'll probably regret saying that, but I think at this point I'd love to make that bet. And I don't know who would disagree with that.
Meanwhile, 3-5, Tin Pan Alley, his return after a very nice debut at Saratoga for Chad Brown, owner Peter Brandt. There's Modern Midas. See if he could take a step forward with a better beginning here. It was not his fault. He got bumped from others in that race in his debut. Let's go to Chris Griffin, start of the late pick 5 from Aqueduct.
Ria's Angel, all in line. All set. And they're off. Eminency's got early speed towards the outside. From in between horses there is Flowing River, and also driven along is Tin Pan Alley. These are the top 3. Gets real tight here for My Gal Valis, shuffled back to 5th. Gets passed up on the outside by Gold Billion, who's now going to take the 4th spot. In between horses there is A-Lister, who's in 6th. Further outside is Luca at the Spa. That one is followed by Ria's Angel, who's got a wide rally as well. Mid-pack is going to be Crawford County, who's 2 in front of Modern Midas. May This Be the One is towards the back of the field with a touch of a buzz. The 2 at the back, Laws and Barrel of Quests. They move into the far turn. Flowing River's got the lead as a neck in front of Eminency. They're a 1-2. 23.17 for the pressured opening quarter. Tin Pan Alley wants off the rail, and here comes Tin Pan Alley and Manny Franco, and they mean business. They're going to be 3 wide. Losing some ground here is Gold Bullion. A wide run for Ria's Angel. Tin Pan Alley is cruising up on the outside of these front 2. Eminency is in between horses. Hanging tough there is Flowing River. 3 of them across the track. Tin Pan Alley is not put away. Eminency just not going away yet. Tin Pan Alley and Eminency approach the 8th pole together. It's Tin Pan Alley, a very game Eminency. Back to 3rd is Flowing River. Tin Pan Alley is just doing enough. Now Kicks clears up by a full length. Eminency is back to 2nd. Tin Pan Alley gets the victory. Tin Pan Alley over Eminency. Flowing River gets tight. Ria's Angel is in a photo with an oncoming Modern Midas in 1 minute 18.24 seconds.
Tin Pan Alley, Manny Franco able to move this horse out, and he finally puts away a fairly stubborn Eminency for the win.
And a very good ride by Manny obviously helps to be on the best horse, but he had that inside position, and he never gave up that inside position until he kind of let the 12 and 8, inch away from, and then he swung to the outside. I couldn't have been more wrong about the 12, and not surprisingly, the money was right. He ran very well to be second, and in this case, the 7 did not get out of the gate, and unless I see the head on, I think it was his own fault because he was last early, and it's hard to be last early and be effective in a race where they run 1, 2, 3 around the track, and at least in the case of the 7, he did maybe get 4th, but he's got to get out of the gate.
Second-time starter, 7.5 months after his debut. Gets his maiden breaker for Chad Brown, Peter Brandt with Manny Franco aboard, and in the end goes off at 3-5.
He won, but 3-5 is a little tough to swallow, to be honest with you. But listen, this barn is winning at a high percentage. This horse had run well enough to win it a while ago, so he probably took a little bit of step forward. I think the others did too. The 12 ran well cutting back. The 8 showed why he was running against good horses first time out. But still, this was a short price, winner or loser.
Pick 5 underway with an odds-on favorite still to come. A lot more from Whitmore Day honoring the champion sprinter of 2020. Hoping to see him leading that post parade. When we come back, stay with us.
Spun to run. In the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, he defeated a loaded field that included multiple Grade 1 winners Omaha Beach and Improbable. His brilliant speed figures were among the fastest of any 3-year-old at a mile or more. And he hails from the legendary Danzig sire line. Multiple graded stakes winner, millionaire, Breeders' Cup champion, Spun to Run, standing at Gainesway.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Start spreading the news. If you're looking to win in New York, then breed in New York. To War Dancer, the millionaire son of Warfront, and New York's #1 sire of 3-year-olds. Breed to a proven performer, the #1 second crop sire at the Saratoga meet with multiple winners at Belmont and Aqueduct. Earn double the New York Breeders' Awards and participate in the New York Stallion Series with $2 million in purses. War Dancer, proud to stand in New York. Visit wardancerstud.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
We're back on America's Day at the Races on FS2 and SNY. Good to have you with us. Program brought to you where you can play it all. Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com, download that app, and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Late pick 5 begins with this horse right here. 3-5 favorite, Tin Pan Alley. Chad Brown, Peter Brandt, and Manny Franco aboard for the victory.
Manny Franco is very quietly making a move, perhaps into 3rd, right? Behind Kendrick Carmouche and Trevor McCarthy. Been riding very well. And listen, you ride 3 to 5 shots. You're out there not to make a mistake. Well, Manny didn't make one.
And this horse, impressive, winning off a 7.5-month layoff. And now on to tougher fields off this effort. 4-12-8 finish. We'll have the pick 4 next. Mention the name Whitmore to anyone in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and you'll likely get a very big smile along with a lot of fond memories to share as well. He was the dominant sprinter in the Midwest for nearly 5 years, including that championship season when he won the Breeders' Cup Sprint in 2020. Now in retirement, his longtime home will now bear his name, one of many honors bestowed upon him to ensure that his legacy lives on. These days, Whitmore is taking up residence at 10 Mile Creek Training Center, about 20 miles from Oaklawn.
Everything, it has to be his idea. I don't care whether it's loading a trailer, loading the gates, go to the paddock. Everything has to be like he's asking us if he can do it. Because if we say, you're gonna do this, he flexes on you and says, no, I don't want to until it's my idea.
Things are noticeably different at Ron Moquette's barn at Oaklawn. Stall number 29 is no longer housed by the Eclipse Award winner, who bankrolled $4.5 million during his career.
But the old man's gonna do it! It's Whitmore in the Breeders' Cup Sprint!
Oaklawn has renamed the Count Fleet barn after the gelding, Whitmore's longtime home in Hot Springs the past 6 years. And on March 19th, Oaklawn celebrates his accomplishments on Whitmore Day. The card will feature the inaugural Whitmore Stakes, formerly called the Hot Springs Stakes, a race Whitmore won a record 4 times.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be, I'll be there with the rest of the people showing appreciation for all that he's done and sit back and look at the accomplishments and how he's affected people, and it'll be good to recognize him.
The big question is, how involved will the headstrong gelding be on Whitmore Day?
Maybe go up there and let Laura ride him out with the horses in post parade, if we can. If he's not ready mentally or whatever, then we'll just bring him up there so everybody can see him.
And the bigger question, what's next for Whitmore beyond 2022?
One thing for sure is it's with us. The path for sure isn't known, whether he's a jumper or a lead horse or just, in charge of grazing all he wants all day. It doesn't matter. He's going to be doing something with us. We hope that he could be a barn pony, because that would be cool for people to come by and get to hang out and visit him and feed him peppermints and him get to go everywhere with us. But if not, then we would like for him to do something to stay busy, and I think he's perfectly healthy enough to do it. It's just whether or not mentally he's okay with going that slow.
He is indeed a Hot Springs hero. This is a horse, too, that ran in the Kentucky Derby back in 2016. He went to the bench after that for about 6 months. When he came back, he won his first 5 starts sprinting, and then they realized, oh, he's a sprinter. He's become a legend ever since that time. 15 wins in his career, over $4.5 million in earnings, and just incredibly popular. They should give him a key to the city in Hot Springs.
I think they would. They just might be afraid of what he'd do with it. I think he might have run 3rd in the Rebel or something. I know he was competitive in some races.
3rd in the Arkansas Derby.
Yeah, I mean,
second Rebel.
It's amazing. I mean, you can look through and sort of surprising to see the horses that were on the Triple Crown Trail and what they end up doing later. Most horses sort of end up going by the wayside, but not Whitmore. He just got better and better, and he slowed down a little bit last year. Yeah, well, he can get a break because the prior year he won the Breeders' Cup Sprint. What a horse.
And he ran in 4 Breeders' Cup Sprints. The last 3 of them, 2nd, 3rd, and then, of course, that win in 2020. Gary Stevens caught up with his trainer, Ron Moquette.
Ron, it's Whitmore Day today. There's more people they're expecting than President's Day. What does this day mean to you and your staff, your family, on this long journey with Whitmore?
It's an honor. I knew there'd be a big crowd here because the people in Oaklawn or Arkansas love horse racing, and they love Whitmore. And they're showing out today to make sure everybody knows they do.
Baseball cards, T-shirts. As far as his retirement, what's expected of him, how he's enjoying his retirement, and how he's acting since being back here for this special day at the barn?
We just want him to be happy. We're going to let him choose his vocation. We know that thoroughbreds are smart and can do anything if they're trained properly. So we're just going to take our time and let him choose what he wants to do. I said from being a hunter jumper to being a peppermint eating lawnmower, he can do whatever he wants.
We've got a choreographed lead over, then into the winner's circle in the infield used for the Arkansas Derby, then leading the post parade. What are the odds of Whitmore putting all 3 of these together this afternoon?
I would set the line at 7-1. I would like to say that it's 5-2 or something better, but I know him a little too much to guarantee that whenever these people start cheering for him that he's not going to react a little, and that's fine. We're going to let him cheer and we're going to let him react, and as long as everybody's safe and having fun, we're okay.
Ron, good luck with your runners today, and enjoy Whitmore Day for you, your family, and your staff. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Guys?
Going to be fun to see him back on the racetrack and let the fans show their appreciation. And the race that now bears his name, he won it a record 4 consecutive years in a row.
Yeah, and it's fun when these horses come back, because you still hear people talk about being in a Jockey Club Gold Cup years ago when Forgo and Kelso came there. People love seeing these horses, and for good reason. Now, if you're Whitmore, he may look around and say, hadn't I done enough? I thought I was finished with being at the racetrack. I'm sure he'll be happy to be there.
He, too, as we've heard from the stories we've seen on him, he can be a little cantankerous. We'll see if he acts up a little bit today.
If they made you go back to work after you'd retired, you'd be annoyed, too.
You have a good point there. We're going to take a timeout. A lot more coming up on Whitmore Day, including the Essex handicap to come as well. Stick with us. We'll be back right after this.
And Shotgun Hottie, oh, it's a photo finish. Is early voting, who was on top right from the start, and early voting wins the Withers wire to wire. God-eyed, and he's going to win the 117th running of the hopeful
Echo Zulu wins the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies by 5.5 lengths.
3 Chimneys, where dreams are born.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. Good to have you with us. For those that may not have caught it, there was, as we expected, that DQ back in the 4th race. So
I hope this didn't hurt our friend Jonathan Kinchin.
It was that 3-horse who was put up for the win. Palace Coup, Robertino Diodoro, David Cohen. Race 5, 6 furlongs, 10,000 starter allowance. Jack Van Berg, there's a lot to like, but he's down on the inside. He's got some other speed to deal with.
No, Greg, you took the words right out of my mouth. He's got to have the 3 pressing on top of him, and that could be a problem for him. So the question is, do you think he's too good, or do you think there's somebody that could pick him up? A horse like maybe the 10 could stalk on the outside?
Let's bring in Jonathan, get his thoughts. JK.
Well, to answer your question, Andy, it did hurt, but as most horse players do, that you, as many times as you're right and you get disqualified, there's equal as many times where you were wrong and you got put up. So I just take it in stride. I don't like it when it happens, but it's all part of it. Comes full circle. In this race, I agree. The 1 down the inside, Jack Van Berg, is the horse I think you want to beat off of that last race, that last speed figure. But I'm going to take a chance with the 10 to the outside, tapping for a dance. This is a horse that I couldn't make an excuse, and I'd be a little bit more bullish if I could make an excuse for the last race. Just really couldn't make an excuse for the last race. But the 2 races prior to that, depending on what speed figures you look at, this horse is right in the mix with the 1 Jack Van Berg. I like the post better for the 10. So I'm just hoping that we can find that race 2 back, maybe even 3 back, and take advantage of the outside draw of our main competition with the 1 Jack Van Berg, and we can get the 10 tapping for a dance's picture taken, and hopefully he'll go straight this time.
And JK, your hunch play unfortunately scratched in here.
Loverboy? Is that the one you're talking about?
You know.
Yeah, you know.
Jonathan, I
thought that was Andy's.
I did a very quick survey of all of our viewers, and not a single one of them said they feel like they've been put up as many times as they've been taken down. I'm just letting you know. I talked to 333 people after you said that, and every one of them said, that guy's insane.
Yeah, you remember getting cut off. You don't remember cutting people off when you're driving on the highway.
I got put up once or twice.
JK's living a good life if they even out for him like that.
I don't even know what to say to this guy.
Jack Van Berg. Look, he has one sitting off the pace, so maybe he doesn't have to have the lead. But from the rail?
But from the rail, that's a problematic situation. I think Jonathan has come up with the right other horse if you want to try to beat this horse, which is probably bad for him.
Futile, the 8, interesting too, moving to the Jerry Hollendorfer barn. Futile, 13-time winner lining up in this group.
He's a hunch bet for me, Futile.
He's getting up there, 9-year-old now. Let's go to Vic Stauffer to the 5th.
They're off. Jack Van Berg and Mr. Ankeny break well. Sky Scanner, Press Snooze, and Tappin' for a Dance close up. Petite Verdot is next. Then comes Feudal, and Riverboat Gambler Jack Van Berg moves through and takes the lead. It is Jack Van Berg, a neck in front of Mr. Ankeny in second. Those two are just a length clear of Sayao and Tappin' for a Dance. Another 2.5 to Petite Verdot. Press Snooze is at the rail with 6 lengths to make up. He's a half length in front of Sky Scanner. 5 lengths last to Riverboat Gambler and Feudal, Jack Van Berg, and Mr. Ankeny. Mr. Ankeny puts his head in front of Jack Van Berg. Then it's a length to Tappin' for a Dance. Then comes at the rail Petite Verdot. Press Snooze is moving up outside of Sao. Sky Scanner has 6 lengths to make up. Many chances top of the stretch. Mr. Ankeny and Jack Van Berg. Mr. Ankeny now a half length in front of Jack Van Berg. To the outside and Tappin' for a Dance. Press Snooze has got a chance. He's moving in the center. Sky Scanner is next. Jack Van Berg's not going to hit the board. And here comes Press Snooze. And Press Snooze takes over the lead. Mr. Ankeny, Petite Verdot, Feudal up the rail. The 9-year-old's on the move, but Press Snooze has the lead. Feudal into second. Press Snooze in front. Press Snooze beat Feudal by 2.5. Petite Verdot was third, and Mr. Ankeny finished fourth.
Press Snooze, Tiago Pereira, and a horse who now wins his 2nd race in his last 4 starts.
You know what's worse than drawing the rail as a speed with another speed outside of you? Getting left and drawing the rail and rushing up inside. So Jack Van Berg's race was over basically at the start. I think that Mr. Ankeny actually ran pretty well to hold on for 4th in here, but a very nice ride and a good trip on Press Snooze just took advantage of it. You know, even the chasers like the 10 and the 6, horses that were close, couldn't get there. This was one where the farther back, the better.
Back to New York, race 7, pick 4 time coming up on our Saturday program. Starter optional claiming sprint, 6 furlongs, and Trinity Totoli. Rudy Rodriguez and the apprentice Jose Gomez right now the favorite at 3-1. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
We'll take a look, though, at the other short-priced horse in here, and that's number 3, Beverly's Charge, who did no running while taking a bit of money in her first start around a Naira Oval. Now, she was shipping up from Kentucky and running here off of just 2 weeks rest. So maybe she reacted negatively to that after she just really showed no interest at all. I'm also wondering, does the surface come into question a bit here? Because looking at her, I will say it could mean absolutely nothing, but she does have more of a turf look to her. I mean, she is at an exchange rate mare, and her best race at speed figures with regards to speed figures, are on the synthetic. And 2, while I'm not that well versed in the consistency of the Indiana Grand racetrack, I am with Churchill. And Churchill is very kind to horses who would prefer a turf course. It's just not as deep, not as sandy. It doesn't break away from them like this course does. So that is my one question mark. Otherwise, I like what I see, and she probably benefited from getting a month in between races this time. We'll move on to number 1. That's pretty nice. She was pretty nice first time out. I think she can move forward, and I don't think the wet track necessarily helped her. I like what I'm seeing from her. She's moved forward for Jeffrey Engelhardt, who is experiencing a very nice Aqueduct meet. But I also am pretty interested in Lanfranco File. She kind of had to steady a little bit going into the turn last time. She just kept coming behind the gate to wire winner and Lady Milagro, who we'll see later in the Cicada. And she's one that, yes, I've consistently liked since coming here in her last 3 starts. Pretty energetic today, pretty much on the muscle for trainer Tally Lynch. So I think she's pretty interesting. It's what I like to see with horses kind of staying at this sprint distance, Greg.
Maggie, thanks. The 1 went by. That's pretty nice for Jeffrey Engelhardt, who won first time out. Start 2 coming up. Classic Vinman, the 2 went by.
Comes off of a win, but will have to get much better.
Favored now, Beverly's Charge.
I have absolutely no idea what this horse is getting bet. This horse is getting bet so much she'll probably win. Her last race was atrocious.
Rosemary Potato's rider change, Luis Cardenas aboard.
She is one of the 2 horses I'm using off the claim from a trainer who claiming off of has produced a lot of success.
Kingdom Queen at 14-1.
I'll get a minute to talk about her later. She's my top choice. She's got races that can win this, and she's a big price.
Closing Deals added blinkers last start and got a win for Rudy Rodriguez.
Yeah, I thought she was the weaker of the 2 Rudy Rodriguez's, and the board is agreeing with me.
Amore Fire at 6-1.
Well, I mean, this horse off a long layoff for the Wayne Potts barn, and his horses are running out of their skin.
Lanfranco File.
I bet her last time at 28-1, and she ran a solid second, but I can't take her at a fraction of the price today, but she's okay.
And the other Rudy horse with the apprentice, Jose Gomez, who you prefer of the 2?
I prefer this one of the 2. I just thought she was a little bit better. But, you know, listen, I'm not going to be shocked by any result in this race, Greg. I mean, I think Classic Vinman's sort of impossible, but nobody else in this race hasn't run well enough. And as far as Kingdom Queen, who we're showing here, she ran races 3 and 4 back that absolutely make her a player in this race. They make her one of the favorites in here. Her race 2 back was bad. I don't disagree. But she did chase wide, and that was a race that was dominated in the front end by Lady Milagro. And then last time, she was running against older horses, experienced horses, that the first 4 choices, the first 4 finishers in there would be odds on in this field. She's placed more realistically. We'll see. Maybe her form is tailed off, but there are things to like about her. I think Jackie Davis rides aggressively and rides well, can count on her to give this horse her best chance.
15-1 on the daughter of Exaggerator right now.
I just want a price. If a race to me is as wide open as this race, I think you need to bet on somebody that's a bit of a price. Because if you really feel like there's nothing special about the favorites, and I think you agree with me on Beverly's Charge, I'm not saying she can't win, and the money may be very meaningful. But she got bet last time. She was absolutely atrocious in there. She was bumped a little bit at the start, but she was on the rail and backed up, and the rail was good. She was bad.
Meanwhile, Trinity Titoli, there's a few that want to be forward in here, and she's obviously one of them, and she has the benefit that she's outside.
No, I agree. I think she's fine. And with a scratch of the number 10, it's not impossible that she could be the controlling speed in this race. And with Gomez, you'd imagine she would go. We'll see if anybody else is aggressive. You know, Cancella's not normally an aggressive rider, but Amore Fire scares me. I mean, we saw a horse from the Wayne Potts barn yesterday, the highest buyer ever on the dirt, and there were multiple chances, was 60. That horse off the claim for Potts ran a 79 buyer. We've seen him win 2 races already on today's card. One of them with a less heralded horse of his entry, or his 2 horses in the race. We saw him run 3rd with a 30-1 shot. His horses, which couldn't get out of their own way for months, over the last month or 2, they have been absolutely unstoppable.
Meanwhile, JK, 3-1 on this 9 we're looking at here. Is she quick enough to be the one in front?
Yeah, she's without a doubt quick enough. Her pace figure suggests that if she wants the lead, she could have the lead. The problem is that even in the races where she does make the lead, her races are typically run backwards, where she's just slowing down late. And I know she won by open links last time, but that's because no one was running at her. She does slow down pretty aggressively, even though she does open up pretty easily if she wants to in this spot. Because of that, I mean, I love her draw. I love everything about her, except for really the price and the fact that she is slowing down. I think this field is a little bit tougher than the one she faced last time. I'm going to go with the 6 Closing Deals. This is a horse that she's not as quick early, but I do think that there's more upside with her in terms of her cutting back from the 7 furlongs to the 6. If you look at her pace figures, she's actually probably faster going the 6. She got a little bit tired late, but that was going 7 furlongs. So there's a reason to think that if running a 6 furlong race, she'll be right there. The only problem is that she's going to need Trinity Titoli to clear her. I don't think she wants to be stuck inside with that pressure to her outside, and hopefully she can just kind of flop outside. But I'm curious to see what Maggie noticed with them warming up. Does it feel like Trinity's going to go to the front with an aggressive warm-up?
No, Jonathan. Actually, Trinity Titoli did not get an aggressive warm-up. Your horse did, though, the other Rudy Rodriguez horse in Closing Deals. She warmed up beautifully, and I kind of am picking up what you're laying down with her. But I do want to talk about Trinity Titoli. Now, it could have purely just been the fact that she got class relief dropping in from a maiden special weight to a maiden 40. But to be fair, in that maiden special weight 2-back, she was entered as an MTO. And I still don't know how good the quality of that field was. And again, you kind of question the quality of the field that she beat last time. She was really settled, where she was a horse that Rudy Rodriguez told me in an interview that she actually needed the goat with her as a little bit of a calming mechanism. And they brought the goat over 2-back when shipping over from Belmont to Aqueduct. She was very calm last time, and that's something I hadn't noticed with her. Today, she's back to her nervous, kind of somewhat washy self. She did stay with the pony in the warm-up, but I think that's because Jose Gomez kind of realized that she needs a calming mechanism with her. Greg?
Well, she's going to do it on her own here in the afternoon. No goat's going to be able to be by her side when the gates open. Well, and Jose Gomez, look, the best weapon was her speed last time out, even though I know it was a drop in class. I would think she's going to be forwardly placed today.
Well, I mean, assuming she breaks cleanly, it's hard for her not to be in the lead unless somebody else is super aggressive. We'll see how the race is ridden. It's tough to predict those things. Once again, I just could never take a short price on anybody in this field. Nobody in here has done enough running or run significantly better than the other rivals in here to say, yeah, this horse is way the horse to beat. It's just not true.
And things don't really get much easier. The 8th race, I thought, was maybe the best race on the card.
I agree with you. I think the 8th race is a sensational race. There's some talented New York breds, and it looks like a very, very interesting race. No, this is the best card we've run all year. There's no question in my mind. There's 100 betting interests on the card, 51 betting interests in this late pick 5.
Favorite looks like it's going to wind up being Trinity Titoli to the outside. 1 of 2 in here for Rudy Rodriguez, who's having a tremendous meet. He's got the 6 as well. Closing Deals, the 6. That is the one JK likes. Added blinkers last start. Sat just off the early pace and then was able to win going 7 furlongs. The cut back to 6 today. Start of this late pick 4 on our Saturday card here in South Ozone Park at Aqueduct. Let's go to Chris Griffin.
All in line. All set. And they're off. Speed towards the outside here from Trinity Titoli and also Lanfrancophile. And then in between horses there comes Amore Fire to put ahead in front. It's a pressured pace early. That's pretty nice. Has room at the rail. Is now going to take 4. So these front 3 now speed off together. Taken off the paces. Closing Deals is back to 5th. And behind that, driven along, Beverly's Charge from the back. Here's the run from Kingdom Queen. It's going to be wide with Classic Binman towards the back of the field. And Rosemary Potatoes is the trailer. Trinity Titoli is the leader with less than 4 furlongs to go. 22.52. Pumped up opening quarter here. Up on the outside is Lanfrancophile. Needing some room here down towards the inside is Amore Fire. Closing Deals is coming up 4 wide, is coming after the leaders now. Losing some ground was That's Pretty Nice. Kingdom Queen, the rest with a lot to do. 5 lengths back there to Classic Binman, who's got a late rally. Up on the outside is Lanfrancophile to the outside of Trinity Titoli. Closing Deals is up on the outside, is chasing leaders as well. Kingdom Queen, the far outside, has got to run. It's Lanfrancophile who's in front, is up by a length and a half now. 2. Kingdom Queen to the outside of Closing Deals. feels they're getting closer. Also rallying on is Amore Fire. Len Francophile for a final 16th of a mile has to hold off an oncoming Kingdom Queen. Len Francophile, Kingdom Queen, Len Francophile, Kingdom Queen, Len Francophile by a neck. Kingdom Queen there for second. Closing deals got tight. Classic Vinman flew on from the back in a photo with Amore Fire in 1 minute 13.09 seconds.
Land Francophile 4-1. The win for Natalia Lynch.
I bet her last time at 28-1. Today she beat me with a 20-1 shot. Can I whine at least a little bit? And, you know, this horse has been improving. She ran well last time. She was a massive overlay last time. She's got races behind. And I like seeing Natalia get a little bit of credit. You know, she had that tremendous claim with that horse we talked about that got sold for $200,000. She claimed for $45,000 and won with. She's doing a good job, and she's not getting a ton of opportunities. And this was a nice ride here by Rodriguez Castro to get it done. Listen, my 5, I love Jackie Davis, as you well know, and she gives them a chance. They moved up front. She made a wide move, didn't quite get there at 20-1, but these are the kind of horses you bet on, you make money. Had a little exacta, but the win would have been nice.
4, 5, 6, and 7. Andy, JK selection second and third in here at 21-1 and 7-1. But it's 4-1 Len Francophile kicking off the late pick 4 with the victory here. 2 wins from 9 starts for this daughter of Practical Joke. She put in a good run late, that big long shot. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back. Brad Cox, Florent Giroux together again. Warriors charge. Huge last time out. The 6-year-old, big effort. Can he repeat it in the Grade 3 Essex? Going to have to deal with his stablemate, among others, Plainsman. Stay with us.
Charlatan is back, and he turns it on with 1/8 of a mile to go. Express Train moves into second. Nashville dropping out of it, and then Collusion Illusion. What a spectacular return for Charlatan, who will romp in the Run Happy Malibu Stakes by 4.5 emphatic lengths. Charlatan, ultra impressive.
It's a new day for a new king.
Red. Ready to go for a ride, buddy? I'm gonna miss you, Red.
Grayson Jockey Club Research Foundation provides the best equine research to treat the horses we love.
I missed you, old boy.
Run Happy, the #1 second prop sire by graded stakes winners and earnings. Run Happy is represented by Smile Happy, the Kentucky Derby individual future pool favorite. A leading dirt sire and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful. Call Bernie Sams now and book your mare to Eclipse champion Run Happy right now. Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2. Good to have you with us. Got the Whitmore, the Essex to come from Hot Springs, Arkansas. And of course, the Cicada for 3-year-old fillies, the feature on the Saturday program in New York. Late pick 4 at Aqueduct begins with Len Francophile, Practical Joke filly, Natalia Lynch. Luis Castro Rodriguez aboard for the winning ride in that long shot you like. Kingdom Queen comes in at second at 21-1.
Yeah, thanks. Does this win move up a horse in today's Cicada, Greg? I mean, Lady Milagro beat this horse by 7 1/4 lengths, and obviously this wasn't the strongest of fields, but it certainly flatters her. Connects the connections.
Talk more about it. Good to pick that up. But, yeah, that seems like a wide-open group of those 3-year-old fillies. All could seemingly improve. We got less than 20 minutes until cross-country Pick 5 begins, involving 3 different racetracks. Going to kick off on the turf with the 10th at Tampa. JK, how are you going to play it?
Well, this is kind of a tricky sequence with this maiden race to kind of start it off. When I looked at it, I wanted to use the 4, 8, and 9. The 4, Saratoga Battle Cry, the 8, Psychedelic Shack, and the 9, Double Warrior. But they've come in pretty bet the Psychedelic Shack, the 8, pretty heavily there. Do what you will with that information. In the second leg, Aqueduct race 8, I'm going to single the 7, Scacciatore. I felt like this horse really improved, has a nice figure, and is drawn where I want him to be in that field. I'm going to take a chance and lean on him in that spot. On to the third leg, Oaklawn Park race 7. I'm going to use 2, 4, 6, and 9. We've all seen what Hollis has done throughout this year. A little inconsistent, though. Let's see what some of these other horses might do. Back here, Aqueduct race 9, the 1 and the 6, the 1 Roseburg, the 6 Lady Scarlet, and then I'm going to wrap it up at Oaklawn 1, 3, 4, and 6. I just can't tell who's going to make the lead. Obviously, Warrior's Charge is a horse that used to find himself there all the time, but maybe Thomas Shelby goes, and maybe Plainsman runs them all down, and like we've seen before, one of my favorite named horses in racing, the 6 Rated R Superstar, maybe he runs them all down at probably the biggest price of those 4 horses.
All right, it's going to be good when you get Thomas Shelby with the rail. You got to think he's going to be sending from that inside slot with David Cohen for Robertino Diodoro. Going to be a good cross-country Pick 5. It kicks off at 4:50 Eastern time. Part of that sequence, the Acre leg, as JK was talking about, Grade 3 Essex and Plainsman for Brad Cox. He is incredibly consistent, already a millionaire, and he won the Razorback. Looking to go back-to-back at the meet coming up.
Basin now running up alongside, and Basin grabs the lead. Basin and Jose Ortiz are running away on the hopeful.
Good to have you with us on FS2 SNY here on America's Day at the Races. Program brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Late Pick 5 coming up in Hot Springs next. It's a maiden special weight, 2-turn mile, and here is Messiah Warrior, Brad Cox, Florent Giroux.
I guess this horse is the one to beat. I think there's some dangerous foes. I don't like the fact that he ran so badly as the favorite last time. That bothers me.
They're going to team up with Warrior's Charge in the Essex as well. Here's Contrabandista, Randy Morse.
Yeah, this horse was running a maiden claimer last time and has found himself in a very, very tough field.
Kingmaker Ron Moquette, slow start in the debut. did run third.
Yeah, I mean, he's actually value at 5-1 right now. I'm surprised he's that high. Ron McQuett, though, does have bad numbers stretching out.
Plausible Denial. Jimmy DeVito, start number 2 on the stretch out.
Yeah, I have no surprise this horse is 3-1 favorites. There's a horrible 10-1 morning line. It's a huge tip last time, a crazy wide trip. And as a pioneer of the Nile, he should stretch out. The dam side is all sprinting, though. That's a concern.
Skate to heaven. He had to deal with Ethereal Road, who's on the Derby Trail for D. Wayne Lucas last out.
Right, but the problem with that is that Ethereal Road was like running a different race than everybody else, and he didn't really do much running. We'll see.
Papa Rocket faced We the People, who impressed big time.
Yeah, he did. Faced him briefly in the gate. You got to look at him. There's a possible Derby horse, they said, and that was that.
General Strike, an expensive son of Union Rags for Steve Asmussen, who's 0 for 4 so far.
That's the problem, right, Greg? Lost at 2-1, lost at even money, lost at 6-5, lost at 7-2. Yeah, he can win, but he's had his chance at short prices.
Battle Call, he was in for a claim in his debut against Easier, and he ran actually a good figure, and now he's being bumped up for a new barn.
He did. I don't like him, claimed from Brad Cox, but he didn't run badly against Lesser.
First-timer Strickland by Upstart.
Second foal from this dam, and the first foal didn't do any running, much like the dam.
Briarwin, Curlin Colt, start number 2.
The 2 on the outside are really up against it. This is a tough field, at least on paper.
Yeah, Chiron on the outside. John Cox, second-time starter, stretches out as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is another Protonico, the sire of Medina Spirit.
Yeah.
Love those Protonicos. Not too many of them.
The late Medina Spirit, 40-1 outside. So we're going to see Florent Giroux, Brad Cox team up here, and, of course, in the Essex as well, Gary.
Yeah, with Warriors Reward, let's talk about the relationship between Brad Cox and Florent Giroux. Listen, they climbed to the upper echelon of this sport together, and it didn't come easy. It was a steady climb, and through that, their most recent winners, big wins of late, Monomoy Girl, Breeders' Cup Distaff, Mandaloon, Kentucky Derby, She Dares the Devil, Kentucky Oaks, Aunt Pearl, Breeders' Cup Juvenile Phillies Turf, Juju's Map, Darley Alcibiades, and Turner Loose. Rachel Alexander Stakes. Not a bad list of names right there, guys. And yes, they're going to try and add to that list in the Essex today. Not quite like that list that I just talked about, but Warriors Reward, if he wins today, he's going to move on to bigger and better things. Looking for a big year from him, guys.
Gary, thanks. He's 6 years old now, Warriors Charge, and that was such a big effort from him last time out. Can he repeat what we saw back on January 28th?
That's the problem. Now, he did run the same figure, but he lost by a nose to Thomas Shelby in that race, who ran it. And consistency is a problem. You know, he's getting older. It's hard to imagine he has upside.
It's interesting you brought that up, because we'll talk about it more later, but that Keeneland race when Thomas Shelby beat him, I still preferred Warriors Charge coming out of that race.
I don't disagree.
He got by him right past the wire, too.
But he had the whole stretch to get by him, and last time was his first win in quite a while. If Warriors Charge runs his best race, I believe he's going to win here. I think this race is a very interesting race from a dynamic standpoint, and we'll talk more about it as we get close, because I think Warriors Charge is the one who goes with Thomas Shelby, and maybe that makes it easier for Plainsman this time. And if that happens, Plainsman's just going to win. He took it to Thomas Shelby and Thomas Shelby's game last time and still beat him. What if they play his game today?
He's just remarkably consistent, too, isn't he, Plainsman?
Unlike Warriors Charge, he's gotten consistent. And he's funny because he's a 7-year-old that at the end of his 3-year-old season, Plainsman, when he won the Discovery, you would have thought he had a chance to be a real player in the handicap division. It just took a while to get him back.
That's still to come. That Grade 3 Essex Mile and a 16th. Meanwhile, the 6th at Oaklawn. Again, it kicks off this late pick 5. And Asmussen Rosario, JK, we're going to see him again with a horse who right now is not taking a lot of attention on the tote board at 9-2.
Yeah, but look, I don't know if you guys remember or not, but this was that after Steve Asmussen had already kind of debuted a couple of monster 2-year-olds. This was that horse that was the buzz around Saratoga that is Steve's fastest 2-year-old. I'm making air quotes. In his 4 career starts, he has never turned out to be that horse. I will say this, though. When you have a story like that, when there is a horse that is, supposedly training so well and all of these things, I think sometimes there is an opportunity for them to kind of turn it around and find out what they were. We saw that a little bit with Caddo River yesterday. Like, Caddo River was supposed to be this thing. He wasn't this thing. And then suddenly he kind of lived up to what we kind of all thought he would be. I'm not necessarily saying that's absolutely going to happen here with the 7 General Strike, but you can make a case. He is a 3-year-old now. He does get Lasix for the first time. He did run some okay numbers. he seems to be on a consistent training schedule here. And look, at 9-2, like we talked about earlier, I'd be willing to figure out if General Strike ends up being that good runner that we had kind of heard he was going to be. So, look, you can't ignore the 4 Plausible Denial with the fact that this horse took so much money on debut and is taking that much money again. This horse is probably well meant, but I'm going to give the 7 General Strike another shot in here.
First time going a mile distance for him. He's getting his 3-year-old debut. Look, obviously impressed before he ever ran physically to go for $250,000. He's in a barn that can improve them. We will find out. There's some interesting other ones to go with here, though, who seem to have more upside.
Yeah, I mean, I would never bet the 7 here. I'm sorry. I mean, maybe he'll improve as a gelding, but he's failed too many times at short prices, and for me. But listen, that's not to say he can't win. If you like him, he's a square price. Plausible Denial is supposed to go to the front. He did get sort of a lax ride, and the horse who beat him in there had run a very good race. It was amazing that he was short price against that horse. I think we were talking about it quite a bit on the show. He had worked very, very well at the 2-year-old sale. I want to say 9 4/5. Big tip. He's a pioneer of the Nile, but the dam side, you wonder if he's bred to stretch out. He is supposed to be in front, though. He is very, very fast. I think it makes him a threat. I would like Kingmaker, who comes out of a better race, and I think ran well after breaking slowly. It's that Ron McQuett's numbers stretching out. Stretching out in dirt with maiden second-time starters, 2 for 36, 37-cent ROI. Having said that, I'm not sure how many of them looked as good as this horse, Greg, coming in.
See how it goes for Ron Moquette. Of course, the Whitmore coming up next, who he trained for so many years, did such a tremendous job with. Tough to, well, it's not as tough as going a little bit longer, but 6 furlongs to a mile, start number 2. At least General Strike has a little bit more of a foundation underneath them than some of these others. But you do get to a certain point where after loss, they start racking up, it becomes a negative.
He might win, and maybe being a new gelding will turn him around. But the reality is that barns like Steve Asmussen, Brad Cox, Todd Pletcher, Chad Brown, when they have 2-year-olds that get heavily bet in their debuts and even in a second, every start they make that's a failure in the maidens, to me, is a massive black mark against them, because these guys win. The top trainers, you could say the same for Baffert out west.
And they win early, yeah.
And they win early. When their horses are bet, they're supposed to win. Now listen, they might meet a freak one time, they may get a bad trip, then they come back the second start and they win. The third, the fourth, I'm going to bet against them every single time. The 4 was this ridiculous morning line at 10-1. The 3, who's actually close to his morning line at 3-1, 5-1, it's better value.
We talked early off the air about the 8. So the 8, debuted for maiden claiming. Not a great sign. Brad Cox put that horse in for maiden claiming, but actually has floated up. He's 7-1 right now. Is he attractive at that price at all?
Not to me. I mean, I think he's supposed to be in the 8 to 10 to 1 range.
And he win a mile and a 16th in his debut.
Oh, no, I don't think he's impossible here. I prefer others. And at least at that price, he makes sense. He was a silly morning line at 7-2. There's nobody in the world that thought he was going to be a shorter price than the 3 and 4 in this race. But maybe one person. But I still don't like him. But that doesn't mean he's not obviously bad value.
Late pick 5 that includes the Whitmore, which is up next, and the Essex begins right here. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Plausible Denial broke beautifully. Goes for the front from Maasai Warrior, Contrabandista, and Kingmaker. Battle Call is close up. Chiron going to be wide. Skate to Heaven is next. Then General Strike and Strickland, followed by a Briar Win, and the trailer is Papa Rocket. Maasai Warrior moves inside of Plausible Denial, and those two will now match strides. Maasai Warrior, Plausible Denial, 1-2. Kingmaker is a tugging third. Then to the outside end, Chiron. Inside of him, Battle Call. They're only about 2 from the front. At the rail, Skate to Heaven. General Strike is 7th at this point, but he's only got about 4 lengths to make up. Then it's 5 back to Contrabandista and Strickland, and at the back of the pack are a Briar Win and Papa Rocket. Midway on the backstretch, finish line is the 16th pole, Maasai Warrior and Plausible Denial. Maasai Warrior inside, Plausible Denial 2nd. Kingmaker in striking position 3rd. Battle Call is called on, and he's pretty much all in, leaving the backstretch. Skate to Heaven stays at the rail. 2.5 to General Strike. Then comes Chiron. They round the far turn, and Plausible Denial and Maasai Warrior Maasai Warrior's back to second. Plausible Denial has a short lead, but now he is confronted by Kingmaker. Plausible Denial ahead in front of Kingmaker in second. Maasai Warrior drops out. Skate to Heaven's on the move in the center. Battle Call is next. At the top of the stretch, Plausible Denial a short lead. Kingmaker, even Maasai Warrior batting back. Skate to Heaven in the center. Three of them come to the final yards. Maasai Warrior, Plausible Denial to the outside. Skate to Heaven. Skate to Heaven, Maasai Warrior. Skate to Heaven, Maasai Warrior. Skate to Heaven gives Diodoro his third. Maasai Warrior, Plausible Denial, and Battle Call.
Skate to Heaven, big day, as you heard, for Robertino Diodoro. David Cohen, start number 4, breaks his maiden.
Yeah, this horse just got a nice trip under David and able to pick up the pieces. As it turned out, the 4, Plausible Denial, couldn't get the distance. Probably a little bit of an unaggressive ride didn't help his chances, but ultimately he just wasn't good enough going this far. Maasai Warrior ran a winning race, just not able to get it again. But Skate to Heaven, right ride, right place, and he was the new gelding that got it done.
Right at his morning line, he wins at 8-1 to start off this late pick 5. We'll have the prices coming up. It's back to New York. We have the 8th ahead from Aqueduct. 5-1-4 finish at Oaklawn. 6 furlong sprint ahead here in South Ozone Park. New York breds, allowance optional claiming field, and a wide open race. If you think Scacciatore is beatable, Jonathan Kitchen did not. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
Take a look at a horse who is second off of a layoff, and that is number 2, Bustin Timberlake, who does inherit that inside post position. Last time out, coming in off an extended layoff, I was not in the paddock. I was actually upstairs. So I remember what Richard Migliore had said about him, in that he thought he needed a race, and you could almost see it on the TV as well, that he just looked a bit heavy. And 2, coming back at the 7 furlongs was a bit of a tall task. So back to the 6 today. I like what I'm seeing here for Charlie Baker. He is a more heavier bone type of animal, so therefore he's one that is likely going to have to run into fitness. But I like what I see with that in mind. So I think he's in the right spot. I just don't know what kind of trip he necessarily works out here. Is there's a lot of speed in here. He's not one that necessarily sees the front end right off the bat, so maybe he does sit in that second flight. As we'll also move on to number 5, Bronx Bomber, who is hoping things heat up and come back to him, as last time out they did not. The pace held together with running with scissors, making that preemptive move about an 16th of a mile out of the gate, and took them gate to wire with Scacciatore just chasing him around there. Now, he was the only horse to make up any ground, Bronx Bomber. I've consistently liked him in the paddock these last few months for Rudy Rodriguez, and he's one that seems to have decided that in his older age, at 6, he really doesn't like a wet track. So his fast track races have been good if you can put a line through those wet track ones, and hey, he gets a fast track today. So liking Bronx Bomber in the paddock, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. We mentioned it earlier. We thought this was one of the best, if not the best, betting race on the card. It is a wide open group. We're going to get to Tampa Bay. We're there now. Oldsmar, Florida. 5 furlongs on the turf. Maiden special weight in a race that's going to kick off this cross-country pick 5. And take a look at the board there. 4-5. Was that Run Smitty run? No, sorry, the 8, the first timer for Clement.
Well, that's just absurd that horse is that price. This horse, I mean, is it an unraced dam? I mean, I guess maybe, but there's a more than ready dam. Oh, it's the My Racehorse factor. You're supposed to bet against him. I got a stupid horse to throw in your cross-country Big 5. The 6. Probably can't run, but this New York bred, the Dam Gitchigumi, was a very, very good turf horse for trainer Rick Violet. The second dam was a superior turf horse. Their second foal. Throw this one in, and I'll tell you what, the other one that ran on the turf actually was much, much better on the turf than was in the dirt. Maybe he can't run, but this is a first on the turf to chuck in your bets at a price.
And again, it only takes one price in this cross-country pick 5, and that would do it. That's to make it light up.
Is that Gordon Lightfoot, the Edmund Fitzgerald? Does that sound right? It's a song, right? There's the something of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Not sure.
It has something to do with the cross-country Big 5. It was the precursor to it.
So this race starts it off. Do you see somewhere where you could narrow things down significantly in this sequence?
No. I like in this race, I would use the 3 and 6 primarily at Aqueduct, to be honest with you. I would probably use mostly the 1 in race number 9 at Aqueduct, but I could use anybody in there, but I would lean on the 1, Rosebud, pretty heavily. At Oaklawn, I'm not clever. I would use Bob's Edge, Tulane Tryst, and Hollis. And in the other race, I would use mostly Warriors Charge and Plainsman. I'd use a little Rated R Superstar. I don't think Thomas Shelby's going to win today, but I'd have him a little bit, maybe in a backup, depending on how it went. But I certainly, with the tickets I singled Rosebud, I would.
Jonathan, post time coming up for the sequence.
Yeah, look, I want to elaborate a little bit on what Andy mentioned about the 8 Psychedelic Shack, that my racehorse effect in tossing the horse. I don't think what Andy means is that you toss him because he's owned by my racehorse. I think the reason he's saying that, it's kind of the old West Point thought, is that these horses typically get overbet because they have so many partners that are involved. If you own this horse, you own a part of this horse, you want to participate, you want to throw your $5, $10, $100, $500 to win on the horse. A lot of times those win odds are a little bit depressed. And I think it's very similar to what you see like in the NFL. Like the Cowboys always seem to be overbet. Maybe not nowadays, but because they've got that big following and that fan base, I think the same thing happens here. I wanted to use the 4 and the 9 as well, the 4 Saratoga Battle Cry. When it comes to these 5 furlong turf sprints, and I'm looking at these younger type horses, I want to find horses that have shown some speed, because speed is what wins these races. And although the 4 Saratoga Battle Cry was 4th and beaten 6th and was on the dirt, did show a little bit of early speed. So that's good enough for me if I'm looking to beat a 4 to 5 shot in the 8 Psychedelic Shack. The same with the 9 Double Warrior. This is a horse that last time didn't show a ton of speed, but on debut on the dirt was a part of a very fast pace, did set fast early fractions. Those are the kind of horses that I'm looking for to pop out of there, get out in front. These are very short races at 5 furlongs, and I feel like getting to the front is a huge advantage.
So again, there's JK's cross-country pick 5 play, 3 deep here to start it off.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan's right. I'm glad he said what he said. I would never leave the 8 out of my pick 5 play, but it's ridiculous to be taking even money at anybody in this race and debuting at Tampa. It may win, just the competition, but is being overbet. I'm going to always bet on a couple dollars on a horse like the 6 at a big price. There's pedigree there. Maybe the horse can't run, but I've made some great scores. We saw Jonathan was talking about a pedigree play last week at Tampa that paid $50. They can be the best way. One of the few ways left to make money is to bet horses strictly on pedigree plays, and there's no doubt the 6 is the pedigree play in this race.
First leg coming up, and then almost immediately afterwards, leg 2, the 8th at Aqueduct. And that's where JK singled Scacciatore. Wow. Second off the claim for Tom Morley.
Yeah, I don't agree with him. I'm saying he can't win, but I think there's a lot of pace in this race, and I don't think that works well for Scacciatore.
He is 2-1 favorite right now. We'll get back to New York as soon as we get underway with this first leg again, as we see a horse rearing up in the gate. Not sure who that was.
Probably mine. I don't know who has the black and white diamonds. Look at the 6.
Like Edmund Fitzgerald. Yeah, it was the 6.
He found it. I bet him. I don't think my mighty small wager is going to matter.
Ryder looks like he's hopping back aboard. Everything okay? Here we go. Cross-country pick 5 begins in this 10th at Tampa. Jason Beam with the call to start things off.
Card. Kids and Family Day tomorrow here at the track. And, of course, 1 week from tomorrow will be Florida Cup Day on March the 27th. There goes My Miracle. Jose Lopez going to be the final one to join, just about set for a start. There goes My Miracle coming up and in. They're in the gate. And the race is on. Mastermind away a step slow. Swift Dancer, Saratoga Battle Cry, those 2 quickest. Psychedelic Shack joining them up from the outside now into 3rd as they sprint up the back stretch. Double Warrior, 9th of April, and then behind that one, Edmund Fitzgerald. Those 3 line up 4th through 6th. They're 2 clear of Commander Biz. There goes My Miracle and Run Smitty Runner after that, and it's 2.5 more back to the slow starting Mastermind. So they take their run to the far turn. Swift Dancer on the inside, just ahead in front. On the outside, Saratoga Battle Cry. Psychedelic Shack looms just in behind them, 3rd, a length and a half behind. Then we come back to Double Warrior. Commander Biz trying to make up ground outside of Edmund Fitzgerald. Mastermind is putting in a big run from the back, was last and just went by 3 or 4 rivals as they wind around to the top of the stretch. Saratoga Battle Cry up alongside of Swift Dancer. Those 2 into the lane. Psychedelic Shack down the outside. Double Warrior starting to move up in the pink colors. Down the far outside is Mastermind. Psychedelic Shack hits the front just outside the 16th pole. Double Warrior down the outside into 2nd, but Psychedelic Shack is pulling clear. Psychedelic Shack, Sammy Camacho went on debut by 3. Double Warrior was second. Third ended up pretty close. It might have been Saratoga Battlecry, but there was multiple horses photoed there for third, fourth, fifth.
First-time starter, Christophe Clement at a short price to start off the cross-country pick 5.
Gets it done at even money. That Christophe, Tampa Bay, getting it done there. Found a maiden special weight with this one. Probably the right move. Found the right field.
Dominant to start it off. Big margin in a 5-furlong turf sprint there.
Much the best.
Back to New York. So race 8, also part of this cross-country. Leg number 2. We have the 7-horse Scacciatore here as a 2-to-1 favorite for Tom Morley with Eric Cancel.
Yeah, I do want to talk. I like the 6 in this race, Money in the Bank, especially the scratch of 7 Lilies. I've fooled around with the 3 and 6 and some exactas using horses like the 5 Bronx Bomber, who has not won a race since he lost his speed, but he does make a run. And the 11, even T Loves a Fight. To me, they're supposed to be moving up front. The 2 is very fast, the 4 is very fast, and the 12 is very fast. So there should be speed. Scacciatore has been running well, and he got a big figure off the claim for Tom Morley, who had him last time, and Tom's done very, very well off the claim. And American Monarch or Beat him is solid. He ran a big figure. There is no doubt about it. But there are others that have run well. And the thing about Scacciatore is he's best on the engine. And with the other speeds in here, I don't see him getting that trip, Greg. And for a horse to be this kind of favorite in this a race that I find very competitive, I just think it makes him a little bit vulnerable. So I want to bet on closers in this race. I'm playing this race for it to fall apart in the stretch.
We got a horse, too. He did it on the front end last time, but maybe an improving 4-year-old Reggae Music Man. He's 6-to-1 on the outside, taking a little bit of money. Got the 9 who used to be quick. He showed speed against some really good horses, including What Do You Think Now? He was competitive against Gold Panda, Big Bobby, but what's happened to his speed?
Well, he was also entered a $25,000 claiming race recently, which makes me wonder what Linda Rice thinks of his recent form. And as far as Reggae Music Man, yeah, he ran a race last time, which makes him competitive here against weaker field horses when he could control. Much different scenario here. I feel he's a last time was the time horse. People overbet horses off big wins and recency, and I think there's value on this board, especially with the 6.
Let's go back to Maggie quickly.
Yes, Greg, just a horse that caught my eye warming up. Number 3, Double Shot. Can't really suggest him on paper, but Linda does opt to step him up off of the claim and win last time out, but warmed up beautifully for Jackie Davis. Certainly one to consider underneath.
I think he could win this race. I believe that any consistent closer, quality closer, and he's one, can win here. I know Linda Rice's numbers off the claim have been bad this meet. This one's a square price. Actually getting bet some. 3, 6 are my keys. Use them with the 5 and a little bit 11.
Here we go. Race 8, Aqueduct, leg 2 of the cross country. Pick 5, Chris Griffin the call.
Money in the Bank, Reggae Music Man to the outside. All in line. All set. And they're off. Looks like a stumble there for Rider's Regret. From the outside here is Reggae Music Man with early speed, is trying to immediately back off the pace. Prince of Pharaohs is a little awkward at the back of the field as well. Bustin' Timberlake now emerges, has got a neck in front. In between horses is Run with Scissors and a 3-wide Reggae Music Man. They ensure a fast pace. Scacciatore is right in behind them, is behind the leading trio there in 4th. In tight at the rail is Rider's Regret and the Red Silks with 4 furlongs left to go. T Loves a Fight moves closer. Blue Cap is about to take that 5th position. Scacciatore just needs room with those front runners. 4 more back to Bronx Bomber, who's in front of Money in the Bank, Thin White Duke. Then from the back is Double Shot trying to rally on with Prince of Pharaohs. Bustin' Timberlake's got the lead. In between horses, here comes Reggae Music Man up on the outside. Scacciatore is going to range up 3 wide with a quarter-mile left to go. Finding more is Reggae Music Man. Scacciatore's had a nice trip, is rolling down the center of the racetrack, chasing Reggae Music Man, who's still got a length in front. Reggae Music Man not going anywhere is Bustin' Timberlake, and Scacciatore is 3 wide for a final 1/8 of a mile. Reggae Music Man is very game. It's Reggae Music Man at the 16th pole. Scacciatore is trying to pass one more time. Reggae Music Man, Scacciatore, Reggae Music Man, got it. Reggae Music Man over Scacciatore, then Bustin' Timberlake from the back, looked like Prince of Pharaohs in a photo with Bronx Bomber in 1 minute 10.91 seconds.
Reggae Music Man, he's in good form and showing a new dimension here to be able to sit off the pace and win.
Well, the pace never heated up in here, and that's why the horses that were 1, 2, 3 were 1, 2, 3 around the track the whole way. Having said that, I agree. Listen, I could never bet this horse. Did he run fast last time? Yes. But this is a significantly better field, and he ran well. But when the 4-horse got left in here, it took out one of the major speeds. And was the pace honest? Not really. It was, for this field, it was honest overall. For this field, it was not super fast, and it just made it impossible for the closers to ever get in it, and they never got in it.
12-7-2 here in the 8th. Scacciatore trying to make a run at this 12-horse and not able to get there as the 9-5 favorite. 5-1 on Reggae Music Man. So, what, even money to be in the cross country? Now 5-1 upset.
I wouldn't have had him on my tickets. I'm glad I didn't play. I would not have used this horse in a million years.
The apprentice Jose Gomez aboard for the win. We have the Whitmore coming up next at Oaklawn. And speaking of the former champion, there he is on the racetrack. Ron Moquette's wife, Laura, aboard to lead the post parade. We'll be right back.
Strategic speed. Some speed at 2, but can carry it on through their later careers.
Improbable, full of run. Improbable, now a Grade 1 winner.
It is a complete runaway, an authoritative run.
It's improbable to win the Whitney.
Irish Hill and Duchess View Stallions, proudly standing the ultra-fast, multiple stakes winning son of Uncle Mo, King for a Day, the only horse to defeat 2019 3-year-old champion Maximum Security.
Well, King for a Day was basically a clone of Uncle Mo. I mean, good speed, the ability to carry it over distance of ground, real professional horse and a really cool horse to train.
Sire maker extraordinaire Uncle Mo, represented in New York by King for a Day. Visit ihdvstallions.com to book your mare today.
How does horse racing support New York's economy? It's responsible for 19,000 jobs and more than $3 billion in annual statewide economic impact. These good-paying jobs support working families across the state and sustain thousands of small businesses both on and off the track. Horse racing in New York means jobs and opportunities now and in the future. We are New York Horse Racing.
Back on America's Day at the Races on FS2. You can play all the races we bring you by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. Download the app or go to nairabets.com and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Reggae Music Man, back-to-back wins now for trainer Pat Reynolds with his 4-year-old son of McLean's Music.
And Pat Reynolds done a great job with this horse. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And listen, how can you not like a horse named Reggae Music Man winning at Aqueduct? He should be like the mascot for Aqueduct, where every day is Jamaican Day.
It's a good call. 5-1 here, 12-7-2 in the 8th from New York. Whitmore Stakes up next, named after the champion sprinter, formerly known as the Hot Springs. And Whitmore, of course, himself won this race 4 years in a row. Bob's Edge, well, he's not the favorite right now, but his performance last time out in the King Cotton, that was massive. He'll probably be the favorite by post time. Here's a look at Whitmore in his crowning achievement, that Breeders' Cup Sprint win in 2020 at Keeneland.
This was some ride by Irad Ortiz, and I think it's just a testament to Whitmore as a racehorse. And you talked about how he hit the board 3 or 4 times running the Breeders' Cup Sprint, an achievement that you may never see again, to be honest with you. It also shows that when you're a horse of his quality, that so consistently shows up in races. Is he the best sprinter of all time? No, but he is a very solid and consistent runner. And when you run at a high level and you always show up, sometimes the stars align and you win the biggest sprint race of the year. A very fitting way for that horse's career, not to come to an end because he ran again, but the final crowning achievement.
There he is in that black cap. There's Ron Moquette's wife, Laura, going to lead this post parade. So much love for this horse, really nationwide, but it's at a next level in Hot Springs. He actually retired as the leading money winner in history among North American-based sprinters.
Really? Wow.
Over $4.5 million in earnings.
Wow. So it's a tribute to longevity. And not just longevity, he ran. He was no China doll. He showed up and he ran.
He took on, I mean, you look down just his past performances, 43 starts in all, just littered with graded stake after graded stake. He never ducked anybody.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that in winning the Forgo, he got an incredible ride that day, saving ground up the rail. And Ira Ortiz, who rode him the Breeders' Cup, didn't give the best of rides on City of Light. But he beat City of Light, who was incredible that year. I mean, he had that huge Pegasus win to end his career. He won the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. I mean, he was amazing. And Whitmore beat him at 7 furlongs, too, in Saratoga to Grade 1. That, to me, may have been his greatest win.
Meanwhile, this is the horse of this year's edition of the newly renamed Hot Springs the Whitmore that a lot of attention going to be on. Bob's Edge, brilliant 4-year-old debut in the King Cotton.
Yeah, he ran very, very well that day. And, you know, the only question is a level of consistency. It is a race, interestingly enough, that Craig Wilkowski, at the time from US Figures, did not have as fast as Beyer did. He rated it probably a good 2-3 lengths slower than Beyer, and I respect Craig's numbers. Maybe it was a pace scenario he felt worked in his favor, but he really ran. I mean, that was the best Beyer figure he ever ran. He had shown signs that he was talented as a 3-year-old. It was clearly
from his debut.
Best race. Yeah, no doubt about it. He really stepped forward, though, in that last race. He's got to have consistency, and he's going to have to run as well, if not better, to move the upper echelon. But he has a right to take that chance, and we'll see what he does here.
The horse who just left our screen, fascinating, till we'll get to him coming up. Hollis, he set a track record here back on December 10th. That was going 5.5 furlongs when he got an outside post. He struggled on the rail, 2 back in the King Cotton. He gets outside again today.
Yeah, and that is important. I'm sure his connections and his trainer, John Ortiz, were really excited when he drew post 9 at field of 9. Because you look, 6 of 6, Barry's Nashville, who I believe won at Fairgrounds, by the way, this week. Then he comes back, gets the rail, always sort of out of position and never comfortable, runs poorly. Then he's 7 of 7. He buries a field. Now, it's also fair to note that both those races were at 5.5 furlongs. So perhaps at 6 furlongs, against some better competition, he's a little more vulnerable. If he runs that race he ran 3 back, he's going to win here. If he runs his last race, he's probably also going to win. But I am interested in the newcomer, Tulane Trist, but I think 3-1 is a bit of an underlay on him, at least right now.
So there he is, the great Whitmore, 7-time stakes winner here in Hot Springs, leading this post parade in the race that now bears his name. Fans going to really enjoy this as we get a look at the field here coming up. Are you surprised to see Hollis as the favorite?
No, I'm not shocked. I mean, he has that huge figure, and I don't think we're the only ones that noticed the outside post thing. I think it's pretty clear. I guess the surprise here is that Bob's Edge isn't taking more money off that race. Maybe people are not believing it because he's not that much shorter than Greeley and Ben. And Greeley and Ben may be one of the cooler horses in training, and maybe he's the kind of horse that should win a race named for Whitmore. But, man, he beat a significantly weaker field with a perfect trip last time.
Here's Tulane Trist coming onto the track. We'll get a chance to talk about him coming up in a moment as well. He's put together back-to-back wins, including his 4-year-old debut for Cherie DeVaux. 7-horse.
Yeah, I mean, I think the question with Tulane Trist is he a 4-year-old that's coming to hand, that's improving? He had run fast, some decent figures, the 3-year-old, and now he's coming to own, or is he a horse that's just meeting tougher competition? We'll find out.
$4.5 million in earnings for that guy right there, the great Whitmore, as he leads this post parade. And we start off with no shirt, no shoes. Martin Garcia rides.
Well, he was no match for Hollis last time. I'm not sure what he's shown in his PPs to suggest that he's going to be a match for him or others today.
Bob's Edge, big 4-year-old debut, and Larry Jones, his trainer, says he is training huge coming out of it.
Well, as of now, he's not taking a ton of money, and it's a square price at 7-2. We'll see how this race plays out. I'm afraid he may not get as much speed as it had last time, and that could hurt him because he's not very fast early.
8-year-old Greeley and Ben. He's a 19-time winner from 30 starts. He's won 12 of his last 13.
And isn't Cabrera going to have to be aggressive with this guy from the inside to at least get position? I don't think he can get shuffled like he did last time and win.
Knee deep in snow. He was chasing Greeley and Ben last start. He might have had a compromised trip in the stretch.
Yeah, he had some legit troubles. You told me about it in that Sam Houston race, and he ran a big figure 2 back.
Yeah, beat CZ Rocket in that race. Yep. Toka D. Wayne Lucas owns and trains.
Yeah, Wayne is just going to keep plugging away with this guy. This is a tougher spot than he was in last time.
Royal Daher coming up with a lifetime best effort last out.
And to be fair, he ran a big figure for a horse that's 14-1 in this race. Yes, he had the run of the race, but he can be forward again and maybe get a good trip. He's a big overlay, I think.
On the improve is a 4-year-old Tulane Trist here for Sharita Vo again.
I agree. I don't think 3-1 is a particularly good price. He would be my pick in this race, but I'm not betting at 3-1.
Hurt Rhythm, 15-1, comes in off a win.
He's going to have to improve off his best race, but the good thing for him is his best race was probably his last race.
And Hollis, 2 of his last 3 wins, they have come here both at 5.5 furlongs and both when he got the outside post.
I am curious to see what he does here because the question is when the going gets tougher, is he not quite as good? Is he beating up on lessers, or is he just a horse that drew the right post and he's going to run his A race, which might be too good for these?
And a little bit, I mean, this is named the Whitmore after a horse who we know he won the Breeders' Cup Sprint when he was a 7-year-old. Hollis, all of a sudden, is coming into his own and really in the form of his life now as a 7-year-old.
Well, I was shocked when he ran that race against Nashville. I thought, ooh, this could be a real upcoming sprinter. And then I said, he's 7 years old. Where the heck did that race come from? And you want to say, well, it was a buyer figure 109. I don't No. That number pair. You look at horses that came out of that race, horse came back and ran well out of that race. There's nothing wrong with that figure. I just don't know where that came from.
But he backed it up again when he won on February 20th. Let's go to Jonathan Kinchin for more Hollis. JK, the favorite at 2-1.
Yeah, look, it makes total sense to me why this horse is favored. I'm just going to try to do something a little bit more creative. I obviously respect the horse I used in my cross-country pick 5 that's no longer with us. I like the 2 Bob's Edge a little bit. Feels like this horse ran well last time despite the start. It was a really pretty tough start, and I think he might have been responsible for that, but nonetheless, I don't think it was an ideal way to start the race. He still then circled wide all the way around there and ran a really fast number considering. Get some time off leading up to this, and I think the fact that he overcame that adversity despite the start and despite being wide gives me a little bit of confidence that he could try to work out a trip from the inside, even if he doesn't make he doesn't work out a kind of a good position. If he has to maybe get stopped and steadied, he feels like the type of horse that will finish. And I also am not worried about him tipping out and circling. He ran so well last time while losing ground. The other horse I wanted to talk about a little bit, the 4 Knee Deep in Snow. This is a horse that was claimed. Mike Maker claimed this horse at Del Mar, and then the horse has kind of run well since then. I think he's had a couple of excuses. He's had a win. He's a horse I think could be kind of trending in the right direction. We've seen what Mike Maker can do with these horses that he claims, and I'm hopeful that the 4 Knee Deep in Snow can run better at 10-1.
Yeah, Special Reserve, a horse that he acclaimed and looked like he was going to be one of the main contenders going to the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Knee deep in snow right now at 10-1. It's Hollis, who is the favorite right now. Gary Stevens standing by with his trainer.
Johnny, you blew this horse out in 47 and change. Looks to be very sharp on March 10th, and you got the favorable outside draw. I noticed a lot of conversation going out to the racetrack. What direction were you giving Ricardo Santana?
We're actually just having fun, just talking about, this is just a fun race. We're in the Whitmore. He's ridden Whitmore before. We're just here to have fun. Honestly, we're just joking about, just having a good ride, have fun. That's all I told him.
Were you happy when you saw that outside draw? I mean, he shows up every time, but he seems to be a monster when he draws the outside.
Yeah, once the draw came out and I got a text from Santos that said 9 out of 9, it's like absolutely happiest. He can handle anything, really. Just that, you can't just bring him back. He's only got one direction, and that's forward. Whether you're on the inside or the outside, it's easier to be forward when you're on the outside because you get to dictate the pace. Without being on the front end, you can pressure or you can take back, and I think that's what he likes to do.
Well, John, thank you for taking the time, and good luck to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It was pretty amazing, too. Thanks, Gary. That, of course, John Ortiz, trainer of Hollis, that he's drawn the outside post that many times.
I know.
In recency, but when he gets it, he's effective.
Right,
the last 4 times, 3 wins in a second.
Normally when you have a horse like that, he always draws the rail, right? Like, you just can't. I mean, it must have been such a winning. Obviously, you want to win the race. But they might have been happier when they drew the outside than if they win the race. Just knowing at least they feel like if he's good enough today, he got the right post. He's not going to lose because of the post draw. And some horses are quirky. There's horses that don't like running inside. There are horses that love running inside that don't want to get an outside draw. He seems most comfortable out in the clear.
Meanwhile, this 8-year-old is a pretty incredible story, too. 19 for 30 lifetime. A 9-race win streak ended at the fairgrounds. He's gone on to come right back and reel off 3 in a row, including in February in a win at Oaklawn.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what exactly to do with him here. He's run these good races. This is an awfully tough spot, though, isn't it?
It is. Almost every number I look at, though, they fit. I mean, one for Richie and Cumberland Avenue. We saw Cumberland Avenue, who's tackled some really good company, come back and win the other day. That's a decent field. I know it's not this field. He's going to have to move forward, you think, but he's put up numbers that put him in range.
Yeah, listen, I'm not. He has. I agree. And listen, the idea. I only have 12 lines showing, and he's got 11 wins and 1 second. He's 19 for 30. And, yeah, in general, he hasn't met the competition. And he lost to Just Might, who's a better turf horse than dirt horse. I don't think there's any killers in here. I think at this point, everybody in here is hoping they can make steps forward and run in some of the bigger races as the year progresses. And I'm not going to knock horses that just they show up and try every single time, because those are the kind of horses that they'll give a good account of themselves. Maybe they won't end up being good enough, but what happens when, maybe Hollis just isn't quite good enough. Maybe Bob's Edge regresses a little off his return race. Maybe Tulane Trist, he's a promising up-and-comer, but maybe he just beat up on Weeksters with a good trip last time. Greeley and Ben's going to run his race. He always does.
He does, and he could have been running in races like this against this kind of competition last spring, but Connections really were patient with him and said, let him prove it again and again and again. And every single time he proved it, where finally they said, okay, we need to take on Graded Stakes Company.
Well, he's made almost $600,000. He made almost $300 last year. He's made over $100 so far this year. So neither one of us are going to criticize his Connections. This is what they're doing. They're getting in races they can win. They're collecting big purses, and now they're taking their shot in this spot. That's the right way to play it. You know what? When he isn't good enough in this spot, they'll go back and find those conditions that he suits because he's got that starter clause. And with that starter clause, as long as it keeps up, maybe they should bring him here 2 weeks from now when we have those starter races, Greg.
I'd love to see him in New York.
He'd love to see you. Who would?
Fun horse, fun story is an 8-year-old who's trying to win for the 20th time in his career. Meanwhile, left-hand side of your screen. Saturday feature from New York, 3-year-old fillies in this Cicada, and that is Exultress for Chad Brown, who just left our picture. We talked about a lot of intriguing horses, most of them very lightly raced, and we don't know, they could be any kind.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you can go through the field, and this is one of those races. It's much easier to say positive things than negative things about these horses. They're lightly raced. They're improving. Lady Milagro, who's the one who's not lightly raced with 8 starts, she was flattered by Lanfranco File, beating, albeit a much weaker field, but winning here earlier in the day. Certainly doesn't hurt. If Lanfranco File would run 5th in there, we'd be pointing out, and that would be a big negative. Lady Scarlet, who ran fast earlier in her career, 2nd is the favorite to Echo Zulu in her debut. Yeah. She ran a nice race at Oaklawn last time. She can win, draws well on the outside. I like Rosebud turning back, but still, she's got to prove she can do it on a fast track and get the right trip, but she had a tough trip last time. You've got a Chad Brown horse that could improve off a maiden win. Monshin ran fast enough to win this race back in August. Everybody here can win, Greg.
We'll get back to the feature in New York coming up right now. It's the Grade 3 Whitmore. It starts the pick 4 in Hot Springs. Bob's Edge. Can he back up that King Cotton victory? He was impressive. That was his 4-year-old debut for Larry Jones. And you have the track record holder at 5.5 furlongs, 3 starts ago here. Hollis. Can he win it 6 furlongs against better company? We're about to find out. Grade 3 Whitmore. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
Here comes Heart Rhythm. Knee deep in snow. Last horse to load, Hollis. They're at the post. They're off. Good start. No Shirt, No Shoes, and Heart Rhythm break best. Greeley and Ben, Knee Deep in Snow, and Hollis in the center. Royal Daher is next. Then comes Tulane Trist and Atoka, and the early trailer is Bob's Edge, and the leader is Hollis. Hollis is trying to get over to the rail, but he'll do no better than the 3-path, as he is denied the inside by both Greeley and Ben and Knee Deep in Snow. Royal Daher is fourth, and he's less than a length from the front. 2 lengths to Heart Rhythm. Then comes No Shirt, No Shoes, and Atoka. They've got 5 lengths to make up. A length to Tulane Trist, and 5 lengths last to Bob's Edge as they run around the far turn in the 76th running of the Whitmore, and Hollis is the leader. He's a half length in front of Greeley and Ben in second. Atoka is 3 deep in third. Royal Daher just inside of him. Heart Rhythm threatens to run a good one. Bob's Edge still has 6 lengths to make up. Hollis to the final furlong. He leads by a length over Greeley and Ben in second. Bob's Edge is flying in the center of the racetrack, but he's still 2.5 from the front, but he does have momentum. Hollis has the lead. Here's Bob's Edge trying to go last to first, and look at him blow by! Bob's Edge, Tulane Trist, Bob's Edge. Wow! Bob's Edge beat Tulane Trist. It's close for third between Greeley and Ben and Hollis.
Now do you believe? I'm going to go Morpheus on you. That was big. Bob's Edge. He was last early in this race. Kind of a tough post for him inside because he had to drop back. He blows by this field.
When he was called last in here, I was about to say to you, you know what? We knew his last race wasn't that good. This was some run he put in because the pace was honest, but I don't think they were flying out front, Greg. I don't think the race totally fell apart. Yeah, the logical horses ran 1, 2, 3, 4 in this race. But Bob's Edge, unlike last time, I don't think he had everything his own way. This is a very nice win by him. Tulane Trist lived up to his, last race. He's improving. But let's give a tip of the cap to him. He was good.
Went off as a 5-2 favorite, by the way, as we shift back to the feature at Aqueduct Cicada. Here's Rosebud for Bill Mott.
I like Rosebud down the inside. 2-1 doesn't thrill me. The cutback, he was against the track. She was against the track last time out, and she'll be better shorter.
Sweet Solare was pressed throughout much of that race when she broke her maiden last
And
start.
she was shorter than Exaltrist when she finished third behind her and improved last time on the front end in the slop.
Here's Exaltrist for Chad Brown, 1 second time out.
She's overbet at 3-1. I think it's a lot to do with how well Chad Brown's horses are running, and it's understandable.
Lady Milagro, you mentioned she beat Lanfrancophile last start, who won earlier.
She's going to be fast early, but she's got to deal with Munchin, and this is a much tougher field.
Munchin won her debut at Saratoga. She beat Morning Matcha, who was second in the Busanda.
Connections of Morello looking for another stakes win at Aqueduct.
And Lady Scarlet outside a multiple winner already.
And this is a nice draw for her. She can be in a good stalking position under Kendrick Carmouche. Not as fast as the 4 and 5, but she can get the right trip. Can she bring that form she had at Oaklawn? Well, she had it at Saratoga in second to Echo Zulu.
5 of the 6 fillies in this field between 2-1 or 5-1. This race named after the first filly in American racing history to be awarded consecutive championships at the ages of 2, 3, and 4. She was inducted into the National Museum of Racing Hall of Fame in 1967.
That's incredible. We were talking about it. I mean, she has an amazing record. I'm sure you probably looked a bit at her YouTube or her Wikipedia page as well. And I always remember that she finished 4th in that famous Travers of 1962 when Jaipur and Raidan dueled around the racetrack. I used to watch that race as a kid, Greg. They used to show a film of it when I walked in Saratoga. They would show a film at like 11 or 11:30. I remember watching it, and back when I was a kid, I knew Joe Cardello, who's sort of a fairly well-known horse player. And Joe told me Cicada had a tough trip in that race. I think she got left or something, and she was a fast-closing 4th and an unlucky loser behind the mighty Jaipur and Raidan. A truly great racehorse. And not to keep going on, but that's why I love the history of the game in the names of races, right? A horse like Cicada. These are the kind of horses that make people fall in love with the game. Go to Wikipedia and check out her Wikipedia page, and you'll realize that she was really a true great.
Yeah, named one of the top 100 horses of all time of the 20th century. Let's head downstairs to Maggie. We're 4 minutes to post here in the Cicada.
And Greg, we'll start down on the inside with Rosebud. She's actually one of the only horses that I have a a lot of notes on. A lot of these horses actually I'm seeing for the first time, but Rosebug is one. It's so funny how your opinions change of horses kind of throughout a year, or when they go from 2 to 3 and 3 to 4. I had thought that Rosebug would relish longer distances. Now I kind of get turning back here, although it's a big turn back. I don't love the kind of immediate 9 to the 6. I wish it was maybe 7 for her sake, but yes, as Andy pointed out, she does project to get the right kind of setup. And she has been sharp out on track here. So I like that fact. I like the fact that Jose Lezcano's given her a big warm-up. And I kind of said that as she hasn't really grown much. So it just makes logical sense now as an early 3-year-old to keep her at these sprint distances, though we'll see. That's a lot of distance to turn back to. Is number 3, Exaltress. She's one of the ones I haven't seen before. I really like what I'm observing. She was by far striding out the best, the most composed and compelling horse in the paddock. Really, really well developed behind the saddle. And these Into Mischiefs, they're just so utterly athletic. And you see why he's had so much success. And he definitely stamps the majority of them, as they all tend to look this way. But she really ticked every box for me today. I think there is another step forward from her in her third start of her career. Speaking of second starts, number 5, Monchen. Ray Handel sends this one out. We have not seen her since mid-Saratoga. She did have a chip taken out of her ankle. And I just want to point out, if you have the same PPs as I do with the form, she did wear front wraps first time out. It's not listed in the form here, but one that does show up off of that layoff, wearing them again. One I didn't see first time out. She is a little bit of a longer, slender type of frame, and so therefore she looks very fit, she looks very lean. She's also acting very agitated, as you see her there with the pony. She was acting that way in the paddock. Well, the horse coming in off of a layoff, yes, she's probably sharp and fresh, so she might be the quickest of the quick here. I'd like to conserve it, keep a little seal on it, and just act with a little bit more kind of, I don't want to say class, but just act more well within yourself coming back off of layoff. So I kind of have my question marks. That's steered me towards number 3 in here, Exaltress, Greg.
Maggie, thanks. Yeah, Exaltress, she faced Rosebug in her debut. It was Rosebug's 4th start, so she had the experience edge, and then she came right back to win next time out.
Yeah, listen, they liked this horse first time. This is a horse that Chad Brown told me he liked. Maybe it was the slop. I don't know. It doesn't seem likely, but she ran so much better the second time out. Still, it wasn't that fast a fig, but you're getting a decent enough price on a barn that is firing on all cylinders right now, and I don't want to dismiss her, and I wouldn't dismiss her.
And, you know, back to Monchen real quick. Looks like she might be potentially the speed of the speed. I want to get your thoughts on that in a moment. First, let's go to JK.
Yeah, guys, I mean, look, for me, it's between the 1 and the 6, and you can kind of go back and forth. It's ultimately probably going to come down to who gets the more comfortable trip. It's not the most groundbreaking news, but I will say this. When you look at it from a speed figure standpoint, the 1 Rosebug, who's, if you look at Timeform US, for instance, it's a horse that has been running in, the mid-90s, 93, 97, those types of numbers, and all those numbers were earned recently. 1 in December, 1 in January. You look at a horse like Lady Scarlet, she ran a 96 back in July of 2021. She's then come back to run a 104 as a 3-year-old. It just feels like she's progressing at a little bit of a higher rate in terms of maturity, and you're going to get a little bit of a better price. And I say it all the time, I like the outside draw for her as well. So I'm not saying that I love Lady Scarlet over Rosebug. I just feel like today I'm going to take the 6 Lady Scarlet.
Jonathan, thanks. There she is. No love for JK from the filly who's the favorite now, the 5 Monchen.
This is a tough spot off a layoff for her, to be honest with you. So
3-2 right now.
Yeah, I think that it's a very tough spot for her. She can win, but I think it's a tough spot. I think they all can win in here. We'll see how the race plays out.
She just loaded with Meets leading rider Dylan Davis. It's the Cicada Saturday feature from Aqueduct. Let's go to Chris Griffin.
And they're off. Step slow for Rosebug is going to be at the back of the field. Speed from the outside, Blue Silks, that's Monchen. Also going right with that rival is Lady Milagro. Lady Milagro now puts ahead in front of Monchen, who's taken back to second. Tight spot here for Sweet Salade, saving ground to the inside in third. In between horses, Exaltress. Wide rally here from Lady Scarlet. The trailer is Rosebug. After the start is 5 lengths off the leader. It's Lady Milagro with a neck in front with 4 furlongs left to travel. Right up on our outside here comes Monchin in a 3-wide run. That's Lady Scarlet who emerges as a danger. Then comes Sweet Salade, who's going to need some room. Exaltress. Rosebug is still the trailer. It's got some run, needs somewhere to go. They went 22.19 for that opening quarter mile as they approach the quarter mile pole. Lady Milagro is right there. In between horses is Monchin and a 3-wide. Here comes Lady Scarlet. Lady Scarlet is ready to pounce up on the outside of Monchin. They're now 1-2. Lady Milagro's back to 3rd. Rosebug is now in the clear. Orange Cap, but has 5 lengths to make up on Lady Scarlet, who kicks for home. It's Lady Scarlet is up by a length and a half. Monchin is back to 2nd. Lady Milagro, it's a late run here from Rosebug, but it might be too late as Lady Scarlet is sprinting clear. Lady Scarlet is up by 3. It's all Lady Scarlet to win in dominating fashion. Lady Scarlet over Monchin. Rosebug will grab 3rd in 1 minute, 11.17 seconds.
Lady Scarlet, outside post, and she wins at 6-1 here.
Yeah, this is a crazy overlay. I have no idea how this horse is 6-1 in this race. Obviously, she took advantage of the outside post. The one, Rosebug, lost every single chance she had at the start. It appears that horses are not making up a lot of ground in this racetrack as well, but take nothing away from this filly. She was much the best in getting it done in here. Good trip and all. I think Monchin ran very well in defeat coming off the layoff. I don't think it ran with Rosebug's performance. She was just completely eliminated at the start with that inside post, and nobody made up any ground. They're just running. It's basically merry-go-round race after merry-go-round race, but that does not take away from the performance of Lady Scarlet. It was just a preposterous overlay at 6-1.
Amazing. She went off of this number. She could put herself just about anywhere in the race. She was second to Echo Zulu, the 2-year-old champ,
I don't
in her
understand
second
it.
start.
Wow.
And she escapes at a big number here in the feature.
Crazy price. Victor second, but at that price, she's a crazy price.
Mike Maker, Paradise Farms. Kendrick Carmouche still in the hunt for a leading rider at this winter meet. With the victory on a 6-1 shot, Lady Scarlet. In the Cicada, we still have the Nightcap to come from New York, and the Essex still ahead from Oaklawn. Stay with us.
A Grade 1 winner on both dirt and turf, War of Will became a classic winner with this victory in the Preakness Stakes and added a Grade 1 with turf credentials in the Maker's Mark Mile. From ages 2 to 4, this versatile son of Warfront proved his class at the highest levels. Now his first foals have arrived. War of Will, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races, program brought to you in part by the champion sprinter Run Happy, never lost in his career while sprinting. Now standing in legendary stall number 1 at Claiborne Farm. Bob's Edge putting himself into the mix as one of the top sprinters in the country. Huge back-to-back performances now as he takes the grade 3 Whitmore.
This was a very exciting performance. I mean, horses that make those kind of runs, you know, Greg, they're always just fun to watch and exciting. And I mean, I don't think this race fell apart. I know that Trulane Trist and Bob's Edge both made big runs in the back, but it's not like Greeley and Ben or Hollis really fell apart. I'm just going to say the best horses ran 1-2.
$7.60 for the win, trained by Larry Jones. Gary Stevens standing by with a winning rider.
You know, we had a good trip. We were over there in the back, just watching everybody. You know, he broke sharp, and then he settled, you know what I mean, more than I wanted to. And then at the hammer pole, he still settled, you know what I mean? And then trying to make a little move inside, he really didn't want to go. So then I said, okay, well, I got to do something. You know, move him out to the outside, and then got him rolling. He's a big horse. He likes to just get his stride going, and then just stay out of his way after that, you know what I mean? He did it pretty handily.
In the future, do you think that he'll get further distance?
I think so. You know what I mean? The way he settled today, you know, he was way back. You know what I mean? He could have go further back if he wanted to, but, you know what I mean? But he come running and he just passed him like, well, stopping.
Well, Louis, congratulations. 2 complete professionals. Guys.
Gary, thank you. Luis Quinones, back-to-back wins now on this horse. He is undefeated as a 4-year-old. And where do you think does he fit in this sprint picture going forward? The Connections thinking Breeders' Cup Sprint. I know it's a long way off.
I mean, you always have to. I mean, you should always set your sights high. Obviously, the lucrative Count Fleet is the logical next spot, and I assume that comes sometime in the middle of April. And you see how he runs, and you go from there. A race like the True North at Belmont on Belmont Stakes weekend makes sense. And I think the first big race should be the Grade 1 Alfred Vanderbilt at 6 furlongs at Saratoga.
Back at Aqueduct in the Cicada, Lady Scarlet escapes. It's 6-1 in here. Now a 3-time winner, trained by Mike Maker. Former claim for him. What a claim. Kendrick Carmouche aboard for the win. Let's go down to Maggie.
Here with winning rider Kendrick Carmouche. With this win aboard Lady Scarlet. First time aboard her, Kendrick, but I know you did your homework. And last time, she pretty much won that race at Oaklawn in the exact same fashion. Use her speed, but keep her out in the clear.
Yeah, she looked like she ran against some tougher fillies over there in Oaklawn. And with her shipping to New York, I asked Nelson how many days she'd been here. 10 days. That give her enough time to settle in. You know, I didn't warm her up too much, but I wanted to make sure she broke short where I could have kept the horses inside of me. And, you know, it was pretty easy from there. She seems like a pretty nice filly.
I was going to say, too, you kind of alluded to it. She was cut out to be a nice horse, took a lot of money in her first few races, but is she putting it all together now?
I think maturity with letting these horses grow up with their age, just like humans, you know. We just got to grow up a little and learn our way around the track, and I think she's starting to do that.
Kendrick, you just admitted to me that you want to go to Cheltenham next year.
Yeah, you know, I really do I love the jumps because, you know, we got a lot of English valids in the jocks room, and, you know, Dave went and a couple guys, and I love watching it. I really do think, you know, their crowd should be our crowd. You know, they had like 200,000 people. I mean, I feel like we should have the same. Maybe they watching from home.
Well, Kendrick, congratulations. I'll take you next year.
Thank you.
All right, Kendrick Carmouche with Lady Scarlet gets a win with the Cicada, and maybe we'll have to get him over to Cheltenham next year, Greg.
I'd love to see Kendrick over the jumps. Still in the mix for the riding title here in this winter meet, Kendrick Carmouche.
I think you'd like to see him over the jumps more than his wife.
Like Kendrick could do just about anything.
The question is, should he? He could always, you know, practice at Saratoga.
He could.
Jacinto Vasquez rode a jump race back when I was a kid.
Couple amounts. Got a 5-1 and a 6-1 in this cross-country pick 5 with one leg remaining in that Essex handicap.
Should be good payouts. I think Kendrick could get the lead in a jump race. What do you think? Should we check out those? The payoffs should be very good in there, given the payouts here.
We're going to take a timeout. We still have the Essex coming up, and loaded group. Brad Cox going to have stablemates going against each other. Warriors Charge, Plainsman. We'll have it for you coming up. Stay tuned.
the Fasig-Tipton Gulfstream Seal. We're bringing the heat to Miami once again with a catalog of selected 2-year-olds in training. Recent stars include Grade 1 winner Yapon, plus graded stakes winners Independence Hall, Art of Almost, Center Isle, and Cezanne. Burning up the dirt track with selected juveniles by the nation's hottest sires. The Fasig-Tipton Gulfstream Sale. Selected 2-year-olds in training. March 30th in Hallandale Beach, Florida. Where will you be?
Introducing a stallion, as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus Spire speed figures, a 3-time grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets. Back on America's Day at the Races on FS2. Good to have you with us. Whitmore in the books. What a performance from Bob's Edge. We still have the Essex handicap coming up. Next, though, it's the 8th at Oaklawn, maiden special weight. Who will get their first win in this field coming up? 2-turn mile ahead. El Jamar intriguing for Danny Pites, making start number 2, and will stretch out in this second start.
I agree. I think he's the horse to beat off of that effort. I thought he ran very well. Stretch outs are tricky. You know, they often don't seem to work. But I agree. I think he's the horse to beat off that race, Greg.
Favorite right now for Brad Cox. Has 2 sprints. That foundation now is going to stretch out. And he had to face his very talented stablemate Zozos in his debut. Is going to get one chance at a Triple Crown try and qualify for that Derby. Here's young Turk Mike Maker.
Yeah, he's going to have to improve, but it's been a long time since his debut at 5 furlongs, so he has the time to do it.
Fast Lane, Steve Asmussen.
This is not an Asmussen horse that's going on in all likelihood to be one of the better horses of his generation.
Ron Moquette, Magnificus with David Cabrera.
He broke a little bit slowly last time. I just didn't think he did any real running. He was a bit wide, though.
Francisco Arrieta for Danny Pites on El Jamar, 7-2.
He broke a length slow. He got a pretty good ride after that, but he galloped out very strongly. I hate falling in love with stretch-out types, but I think this one is going to be okay.
Life on the Nile has had 2 chances going longer to mile 16th. He was only beat a half length last start.
Well, isn't he the horse to beat off his last race? The problem is he almost got it done at 10-1. Jonathan liked him last time. It was just an awful beat.
Summer in Malibu is 14-1, Chelsea Bailey.
Yeah, I also think that horses like Summer in Malibu and the 9 Rome could get in the way of Life on the Nile.
Major contender, 2 sprints, and now the stretch out for Brad Cox.
It's a gutsy name for a horse, isn't it?
It is.
It hasn't worked out so far. So far, he's been a minor contender.
Well, maybe going longer is his thing.
He's a major contender today. He's 5-2.
30-1 on Drag Malibu, blinkers on.
And I can understand why. Hit at a bomb. Don't see a lot of hit at the bombs.
Yeah. Rome, big price.
But he could have a say in this race because an aggressive ride, he could be forward.
Grand Festival, he showed very little first out.
Yes, 90-1, too. Underweight 40.
Big time Tegrity. Flincher. He did break a little slow. He got a hot pace to try and chase down.
Right. I was just going to say the same thing. He comes out of the El Jamar race, and El Jamar ran so much better than him and has a better post.
House Silks with the 3. Magnificus. Let's go to Gary Stevens.
Yeah, guys, I asked Ron McQuett what it was like to train for the owner of the racetrack, and Louis Sella. He said, Gary, it's the greatest job in the world. Listen, Louis, he's running a lot of operations. He hires people to do a job. They delegate other people to do the job that is needed to do. As Racing Secretary Pat Pope, he's hired to do a job. He's got a lot of people underneath him that do certain jobs to get the job done. Well, that's where the position that Ron Moquette is in. He's been delegated to be the horse trainer for Louis Sella, and at the same time as he's doing that, he gets to do things as he wants to do it to get the best performance he can out of every horse that he leads over there. So in other words, he's not a guy that micromanages. He hires people to do a job. He expects them to do the job, do it right. He's running the hotel, he's running the racetrack, and many, many other things that keep him very busy. You can see Louis Sella on every race day, going through the grandstand, shaking hands with people, meeting people into the casino, back out of the casino. He's been keeping track of the NCAA March Madness here. I've noticed him head into the casino a few times, and all he was looking at was the big screen TVs with all the games going on. But he really enjoys training for Louis Sella, and they have had good success in the past, guys.
Thanks, Gary. Look, they've taken on a lot. It was a big, in a way, a big gamble, like doing this expansion, putting in that hotel, the casino. But it has really paid off, and this is now just not a place to go for, obviously the racing is the premier event, but it is a destination for many people.
Well, the casino also does extremely well there, and obviously that's been extremely lucrative for them, and they're in a good spot. But they've run a racetrack that's been popular for a long, long time and attracting a lot of big stables and a lot of big horses there, and there's some huge races left to come.
Including on today's program with that Grade 3 Essex ahead. We're looking forward to that. Right now, this maiden race, few ways to go. We're going to take a look at Life on the Nile. You know, to me, I don't know. It's obviously one of the horses to beat. What's the price right now?
3-1. I don't bet horses like this, or he's 5-2 right now. He is the horse to beat off the last race.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue that. I am not. I understand why people like him. I don't bet horses that you're supposed to got the money at 10-1 the time before, and now you're getting a fraction of that price. Doesn't always work out, but overall, that's probably the better plan, especially for a guy like Jonathan, who liked this horse last time. It was a great pick by him and just an awful beat.
Well, there's a chance, too. He's not alone on the lead
That's
here.
the problem. He was able to clear last time, and he did it by going relatively fast. But how is Summer in Malibu not going to go? One thing you know about Chelsea Bailey, she goes. So what happens if they get in the way? Because let's be clear. What was the biggest difference between his last race when he ran that bigger figure and his other 3 races? He got clear on the lead. So I think he's proving out there that he's a better horse, like a lot of horses, when they can control. And I don't think he's a big favorite to control in this race, and that's going to make, I think, his job much, much tougher.
Jonathan, he's 5-2. He's got big sprint speed before he even stretched out, but it looks like he could have company on the front end today.
Yeah, Andy and I agree for the most part here. I will say one thing. I treat this situation a little bit like the roulette wheel in Vegas that I walk by occasionally and put money down, not that I play seriously. Just because there's been 17 blacks in a row doesn't mean there's going to be a red. Every spin is individual. It's not quite a 50-50 shot, but you get the point I'm trying to make. Just because this horse was a bigger price last time is not an indicator of how he's going to run here today. And it doesn't necessarily suggest that there's no value here just because he was the wrong price last time. With that said, I agree with Andy. I'm not betting him here today because there is a lot of pace in here. He's not going to make the lead as easily as I think he did last time, if he even makes the lead. I think there's horses that can go with him. I'm going to go for a bigger price in here, hoping that this race possibly falls apart. I'm going to take the one Young Turk. This is a horse that's second out for Mike Maker. The horse hasn't made a start since the summer. Took a little bit of money. Mike Maker horses don't typically get bet first time out. He's only 11% in his career with first-time starters, and especially with young horses, it's not necessarily his thing. And so the fact that this horse took some money at Churchill Downs suggests the horse probably has a little bit of talent. Also, the horse ran a figure that was just okay for that age, but the fact that he got this time off suggests there's probably an issue, and now he's back, and Mike brings him back at a mile. When it comes to stamina, I never worry about stamina with Mike Maker horses. He trains that into them. That's why we've seen him have such success with these long-distance turf horses. I'm going to give the one Young Turk a little bit of a shot here. He's 15-1 on the board right now. I'm going to need the pace to fall apart here, I think, at least from how this horse ran initially. But I'm going to give this horse a try, the one Young Turk.
15-1 right now. Favorite remains Life of the Nile. We already saw a horse coming out of that ethereal road race, which Life of the Nile does 2 starts back, win earlier on the card. That was Skate to Heaven. We'll see if another one can win here. He's going to try and win as the favorite. Tiago Pereira will be aboard.
With the one Young Turk, I think Jonathan's taking sort of an interesting play. He's got a horse that didn't really get bet that strongly in the debut, but that was 5 furlongs for Maker. Listen, he's kind of a stab at a price. Maybe he's working well. I don't really know. But I could have worse ideas than taking a stab at a price here, especially the Maker Barn. One thing about their horses, you usually expect them, if they're stretching out, they'll probably handle the distance. Question is, will they handle it quickly enough? I love the circle. You know that? Don't you love that circle?
It was a mile and a half on the turf. Might like this horse a little better from that barn, right? Mike Maker had been a genius.
Maybe not yet. Maybe not yet.
At getting horses to go long on the grass. Many of which he's claimed, kind of resurrected their careers. We'll see. It's kind of a race. There's so much potential for upside here. Many of these horses, quite a few of them have not gone long, including major contender, the 7, Brad Cox. And a lot of people, a lot of handicappers like having at least those 2 sprints as a little bit better foundation before stretching out. He has that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Brad Cox has good numbers stretching out in general from a percentage standpoint. His stretching out in the dirt with the maidens, he's 46 for 158 over the last 5 years, 29%. Now, the ROI is $1.56. It's because they get overbet. And so, in general, you're getting the worst of it, but his numbers as far as his production have been very good.
Favoritism remains with Life on the Nile, Jerry Hollendorfer, Tiago Pereira, and the 3-year-old son of Pioneer of the Nile. Can he get to the front by himself? Other speed to contend with here, and even though he did last time, he still wasn't able to finish. 3rd chance at a route distance for him here to try and break his maiden. Let's go to Vic Stauffer. Here is the 8th from Oaklawn.
Tender. Drag Malibu. Magnificus. Rome. El Jamar. Grand Festival. Two more now, Life on the Nile and Big Time Integrity. They're at the post. They're off. Fast Lane and Life on the Nile break fast. Summer in Malibu and Rome are close up. Major Contender in a very tight spot. Then to the outside and Drag Malibu, followed by Young Turk at the rail, then El Jamar. At the back of the pack are Magnificus, who broke slowly, Grand Festival, and Big Time Integrity. To the backstretch with Fast Lane just in front of Life on the Nile and their matching strides, and 2 lengths in front of Summer in Malibu, Major Contender between horses, and Drag Malibu at the rail. Rome is 6th and about 4 from the lead, and he's a length in front of Young Turk. Then it's 3.5 back to El Jamar. Outside of him, Big Time Integrity and Magnificus at the rail, and then 5 lengths last to Ground Festival. Midway on the backstretch, finish line is the 16th pole, and Life on the Nile trying to get there first. Life on the Nile, a neck in front of Fast Lane in second. Then Summer in Malibu, Major Contender, and Drag Malibu at the rail. Now that threesome is 2 from the front. 2 lengths further back, 2. Young Turk. El Jamar is unwinding from the back of the pack. Here's El Jamar moving up outside of horses, and El Jamar is passing horses. He's about to get all the way up into 3rd. You better take a look at El Jamar. Meanwhile, Summer in Malibu has taken over the lead. He's a length and a half in front of El Jamar and Rome. Between horses, Major Contender, Summer in Malibu, the one to beat. Summer in Malibu, top of the stretch. El Jamar has 2 lengths to make up. So does Magnificus, who's running a big race after a slow start. Summer in Malibu. Now Magnificus runs into 2nd. El Jamar is 3rd. It is Summer in Malibu in front. Summer in Malibu beat Magnificus by 2.5. El Jamar was 3rd, and Young Turk finished 4th.
Summer in Malibu, Chelsea Bailey, Thomas Vance. 6th time out, breaks his maiden.
Didn't show the speed, at least I expected him to show, but he certainly closed well, and he was dominant in here. Horse who would run well enough, I should say, behind We the People. Ran his best buyer figure that day of 70. Seemed to have improved on it today. Aljamar made that big wide move like he was going to go by, but these sprinters stretching out, sometimes they hit a wall. He did. Magnificent. Another sprinter stretching out ran okay. Young Turk, Jonathan's horse, broke a little slow, made a bit of a run, but none of them were catching this guy.
11-1, Summer in Malibu. We got the Essex coming up next, grade 3, and we have the Nightcap ahead in New York. Going to close it out with a New York bred maiden claiming sprint when we come back.
Good Magic's in front. Good Magic pulls away from Somomini. Good Magic's going to win his first race, and he's going to do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Good Magic to the front of the field in the Toyota Bluegrass to win it. The champ is back. Good Magic in a good-looking performance.
800,000, 75, 875, 8.5. Pete, 775,000. Thank you.
Magic's in front.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2. Program presented by NYRA Bets, where you can play it all. Go to NYRABets.com, download the NYRA Bets app. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. We still have the Essex ahead at Oaklawn. We have the Nightcap coming up here next in New York at Aqueduct to close out this Saturday card. New York bred maiden claiming event, 6 furlong sprint. Let's go to Maggie.
We'll start with the horse that is the favorite in here, the second-time starter, Kiss Me Smile. And as Andy pointed out earlier on the show, it does seem tough to make up a lot of ground. And these jocks and horses are coming back absolutely covered with the ones that are behind the pace. So when that happens, when that kickback and dirt really sticks to these guys, it usually means it's tough to run through. And I don't think Kiss Me Smile is going to have to worry about that. She looks solid. She looks quick, as she was first time, and she got a beautiful warm-up with Dylan Davis aboard. As we'll move on to number 9, backed by Gold. She is making her debut here and taking some money. I like her as an individual. She's nicely put together, nicely prepared in the respect that she's incredibly fit, very typical Jorge Abreu's horses, and very professional. But she is by Central Banker. Not much production immediately. I will say that the Dams have to Flip Cup, who was a stakes winner on all 2 surfaces, synthetic and dirt, as well as being stakes placed on the turf. She doesn't strike me as one having that much speed. I could be completely wrong. It's just that she's very subdued in her demeanor, and she looks like she could cover a bit more ground than this 6 furlongs. But like I said, she's taking money. She's well prepared. She could show speed. Moving on to number 10, Tasty Wave. She's going to have to definitely do a lot better at the start than she did first time out, but she takes a slight drop from the 40. She is striding out really well today, and she's a bit of a smaller but athletic, put together type. So if she can break well, I think there is a slight bit of ability with her, as she is a decent price on the board at 11-1, Greg.
What happened to Tasty Wave last time was number 8 is the number 7 inside of her came over and just completely and totally forced her out of the race. I'm not saying she has speed, but she didn't break badly at all in this race, as you can see. She got bumped, and then she dropped back to last. I'm not saying she's going to be forward. I think the 2 is the speed. The 2 and 12 are the speed. The 2 is a live long shot here. But as you can see, she broke fine. And they came over, and they just banged into her, made it tight. So it was not her fault at all. And as you saw in the pan, she broke well. I don't know how good she is. She might be able to run at all, but I know she had no shot in that race. I'm taking Tasty Wave. I used her with the 2, I used her with the 9, and I used her with the 12. I don't love the 12, but maybe she'll improve in her second start, and speed has been good. But I like Tasty Wave.
Meanwhile, this one, Eudaimonia outfinished the 12, but for Eudaimonia, it was start number 6. For Kiss Me Smile, it was a debut, but did hold her off pretty convincingly. Obviously, all the reason to think Kiss Me Smile could move forward for the Mike Maker barn here in start number 2.
But 5-2?
Yeah, short price.
That's way too short a price, you know? It really is.
Meanwhile, 9-2 is a little enticing on Eudaimonia.
No.
Backed by Gold, obviously the 9, the firster that's intriguing for Jorge Abreu.
2 was on a dead rail last time, lost anchor. And the 2 has a 40 buyer 3 races back sprinting that will be fast enough to compete here. I'm not in love with that horse, but I think Lost Anchor is a long shot to take a look at, too. But I like the 10.
A tough race to have a strong conviction about anybody in here.
Agreed.
Here's the Maker runner. Dylan Davis meets leading rider aboard. Nightcap from New York. Let's go to Chris Griffin.
3 out. Flight Forward. Lady Shanghai Trevor and Strong Alpha to the outside. Strong Alpha. All in line. All set. And they're off. Speed at the inside here from Mrs. Banks. Strong Alpha up on the far outside has got early speed as well. Then comes back by Gold in the early mix. Kiss Me Smile. It's going to be Strong Alpha from the far outside post. Is going to try and cross over. Is up by 3/4 of a length. Green sleeves there is Eudaimonia, who's in the 2 path. Mrs. Banks is going to get shuffled back. Giggling Ghost is in that fray as well. Kiss Me Smile is going around rivals here. Is 4 wide, but is about to challenge and take the second position. In a real tight spot is Phenomenal Woman. They're really bunched up in behind this leader. Then comes a move here towards the outside. Phenomenal Woman is making up some ground. Then Mrs. Banks, we lost a rider there. Unseating the rider there was backed by Gold, has gone to the outside rail. Towards the back of the field, Flight Forward. Also at the back there comes Lady Shanghai Trevor and Throwing Stars. Well into the far turn, approaching the quarter mile, left to go. Strong Alpha is up on the front end. Strong Alpha's got the lead. Kiss Me Smile is right up on the outside, is ready to challenge and take the front. Kiss Me Smile. Back to second there is Strong Alpha, who continues to be game from the back as well. Here comes a rally on the outside is Phenomenal Woman. Also in there is Lost Anchor, but Kiss Me Smile is well clear. Kiss Me Smile is up by 4, 5 widening lengths here inside the final 16th. It's all Kiss Me Smile. Kiss Me Smile draws away and wins the finale. Phenomenal Woman up here for second. Then came Lost Anchor. Looked like Tasty Wave is going to hold on in the photo over an oncoming Lady Shanghai Trevor. Woman at 14.28 seconds.
Kiss Me Smile, Mike Maker, second time out. Meet leading rider Dylan Davis for 3 Diamonds Farm.
Well, you can see why she was 9-5 based on her first race and came back and won by 10 lengths. I'm just laughing. I mean,
28 buyer speed figure in the debut.
Got that 28 first time.
There was, in this field, she looked like she had the most upside, didn't she?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know. No, I liked my 10, who ran okay. She didn't actually break that sharply and went, I think, 4th in here. She galloped, so what can I say? Do I think she should have been 9-5? I guess after the race, she should have been 9-5. I don't think she looked like that kind of favorite in here. The 9 lost the rider. Obviously, we hope Trevor's okay. Don't know exactly what happened, and that's what the inquiry's about. She galloped. I don't know. She ran. They did. The rest of them didn't.
With more on what happened to Trevor McCarthy and backed by Gold, let's go to Maggie.
Good things to report here, guys. As Trevor McCarthy, I just heard over the EMT's radio that he is up and okay. And 2 backed by gold. She was apprehended on the clubhouse turn here by the Outriders. Still not sure exactly what she did here, as we are checking out at least on the in-house screen. I don't know. It almost looked as though she ducked out. You know, first-time starters being inexperienced in green, but it's just good to report that everybody's okay after a few scary moments, Greg.
All right, good news to hear there, Maggie. Thank you. 12-8, 2-10, and that's where you see that 9 there. And Trevor McCarthy comes off, and just dangerous situation with a loose horse.
As long as Trevor and the horse are okay, that's all that matters.
And there is Trevor. Good to see him up, walking under his own power, and appears to be just fine. Man who is in the hunt for this riding title, chasing this man right here, Dylan Davis.
Yeah, no, that's we just want to see the rider be okay, and certainly the horse as well. And they both seem to be fine. That's what matters.
Kiss Me Smile wins as the 9-5 favorite to close out this card in New York. We still have the feature or co-feature ahead from Hot Springs Grade 3 Essex Handicap. Warriors Charge, huge effort. Last time out in his 6-year-old debut. It's going to be a much tougher field he's got to deal with today. Already a millionaire. Can he add another one for Brad Cox?
They're off in the United Nations. Fantastic is sent hard to take the lead. Fantastic has been there every step of the way. Fantastic shakes loose with 1/4 mile to go. He's in front by 2 lengths. But it is Fantastic to take them coast to coast in the United Nations.
155 and in the back, 150,000. Jody, thank you.
Fantastic, standing at 3 chimneys. It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Run Happy, the #1 second crop sire by graded stakes winners and earnings. Run Happy is represented by Smile Happy, the Kentucky Derby individual future pool favorite. A leading dirt sire and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful. Call Bernie Sams now and book your mare to Eclipse champion Run Happy right now. Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2. Program brought to you in part by Hallandale at Alapa. Card in the books in New York. And the nightcap goes to Kiss Me Smile. Bet way down. Lake goes down to 9-5 as the favorite. Second time out winner for Mike Maker. 3 Diamonds Farm. And Dylan Davis continues to lead the way here in the riding calling.
I feel a little better because I just texted Kirk Wyckoff, who owns 3 Diamonds Farm, and I said, did you get all the money at 9-5? And he said, I'm not betting my New York bred maiden 25 claimers at 9-5. Thank you. But he's happy he's won. And he said, as you said, Mike Maker continuing to do a good job.
Much the best here. $5.80 for the win. Got the Grade 3 Essex Handicap next at Oaklawn. It is a good one. Great field coming together in here. Evenly matched group, including a couple of stablemate for Brad Cox, Warriors Charge and Plainsman. And Warriors Charge right now 6-5 favorite off that dominant performance on January 28th.
I have no problem with him. I'm not sure. I actually think Plainsman's the horse to beat, but forgetting about that, I don't know how you take this short price on him considering his lack of consistency as far as winning. Is that fair?
It is indeed. I'm with you. Plainsman, he is ultra consistent. 9-time winner. $1.2 million in earnings, and coming off a win last time out when he got by Thomas Shelby and Popular Kid in his 7-year-old debut. Rosario aboard for Brad Cox. We'll be back.
Union Rags, proving Lane's End's tried and true stallion making formula. A formula that leads to success for our partners and our stallions. He's a leader in his sire crop by graded stakes winners and grade 1 winners. He's a commercial standout with multiple million-dollar sales and a 6-figure yearling average. And with 4 full books bred at 50 and 60,000, he has even more exciting progeny in the pipeline. Union Rags, a stallion that stands above the rest.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. Grade 3 Essex Handicap coming up next. Our program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. 6 to 5 on Warriors Charge. Stablemate Plainsman, second choice, both for Brad Cox at 2 to 1. Both of them millionaires. Some other good horses in this race, though.
Yeah, I understand why they're focusing on those two. I don't believe that Warriors Charge should be this big a favorite over Plainsman. Maybe it'll change as we get closer. If somebody said to me, you have to come up with another horse to play at a price, I think Rated R Superstar is going to run okay in here. The pace was honest enough last time, but that race was totally dominated in the front end. And for him to make as good a run as he did, I think is a feather in his cap. Ran very well the time before that, and I think the pace is going to be a little bit hotter today. And I'll bet you Rated R Superstar overperforms at 7 to 1. Last time was the time for Thomas Shelby. I'm kind of a little against him today with the other two in here. I think the 4 should be favored over the 3, and I think Rated R Superstar will outrun his odds.
4 of the top 5 finishers coming out of this race, including the top 3, the Grade 3 Razorback, Plainsman, Thomas Shelby. They just threw it down all the way around the racetrack, and in the end, Plainsman gets by Thomas Shelby.
And nothing, this is in no way a knock on Thomas Shelby. As you know, I bet him last time. But this was the day for him. He had the run of the race. Now, he draws the rail again, which helps him. Plainsman's going to go, but I think if he's going at the start, you know that Joel wants to make sure because he understands. I can't let Thomas Shelby get a big edge on me. But if he goes and Warriors Charge goes in between them, he may end up doing more of the dirty work, which I think helps Plainsman, hurts Thomas Shelby. I think he takes pressure one way or another. We'll see how it works out. These games, the races are a bit of a chess match, and I don't want to say I don't respect Thomas Shelby because I do. But I wonder if it gets a little bit tougher for him on the front end. And I think that may help a horse like Rated R Superstar. I'm not saying he's going to win, but I think he'll outrun his odds.
Well, Plainsman, as you look at Warriors Charge right there, he was able to sit just off of Thomas Shelby last time. He's likely, why not take that same trip and tactics again?
I agree, but I think that Warriors Charge may be a little bit faster than he is naturally. So I do think that you'll see Joel leave, because that's what he does. He's aggressive at the right times. He's never going to let the one have that advantage, as he didn't last time. But he's probably better off if somebody else does a little more of the dirty work for him, right? And if he can get Warriors Charge to go even more and make it get a little bit faster, and if he leaves, you would think that might happen. I'm just projecting it in my head. I think if it happens and it gets more forward, then he doesn't even have to do as much work, and he's still got an edge over Thomas Shelby. So I think that Plainsman should be favored here, personally.
There is Thomas Shelby, 10-time winner, over $500,000 in earnings, and he draws the roll again. He's got to go. He's going to go anyway, probably, and it's maybe he gets it done today. Maybe he turns the tables, but tough to see that he couldn't hold off Plainsman last time.
Right, and I just think with the addition of Warriors Charge, it hurts him and it helps Plainsman. Now, maybe it hurts Plainsman because Warriors Charge is very good. And don't get me wrong, Warriors Charge runs his last race, he's going to win this race. But he doesn't have enough consistency for me to be certain he's going to run it. This guy has more consistency as far as winning races, doesn't he?
Plainsman.
Yes.
Yeah, without question. Without question. But the last 2 times on the fast track for Warriors Charge, they've been pretty good. Although, Thomas Shelby did hold him off, but it wasn't soon after the wire that he got right by him. And he came back out of that, and it's a 6-year-old debut. Ran huge. That was one of the bigger races he has ever run in his career.
Yeah, I just, it's like, yeah, he got by off the wire, but that's what a lot of horses do that don't want to win, right? They don't get it done, and then after the wire, they run by.
I thought he had the measure. Look, both times he's faced Thomas Shelby's beat Warriors Charge.
Because Warriors Charge is not a winning type anymore these days. He's just not. I don't think that he's reliable to win races. I really don't.
Belle Luminaire, the 7. He's going to make his 6-year-old debut. You got a lot of Rated R Superstar. He's a 9-year-old. A lot of older horses who still have a lot of ability. Here's Thomas Shelby. We know his game plan. Go to the front.
Yeah, I mean, he's got it very easy. He drew the rail, and he's going. We'll see. The other ones have to adjust. That's the one thing about him. The others have to adjust to his game.
Warriors Charge, another 6-year-old. He's a millionaire for Brad Cox.
Well, they couldn't beat him by letting Thomas Shelby dictate at Keeneland, so don't they need to be more aggressive today, the way Plainsman was last time?
Here is Plainsman. He won that Razorback, beating Thomas Shelby.
I think he's going to be either the pressing or Warriors Charge will do the dirty work. I believe he should be favored.
Popular Kid. He was 42-1 in the Razorback. Ran 3rd. He wasn't going to beat Plainsman or Thomas Shelby, but he did hit the board.
Yeah, he got a very comfortable trip, though, breaking from the rail. If you want to bet him big price, be my guest. But his last time was the time for him to shine.
Rated R Superstar. He has races, and he's beat some of these horses in the past, and he's 9 years old, and he's still got big ability.
I mean, I thought he ran terrific to win two back. I'm sorry. He beat Thomas Shelby, but he took a lot of pressure in there. But he's going to get more pace, and he ran sneaky well last time.
He beat Plainsman late last year as well. Here's Beau Luminaire, 6-year-old debut coming up.
He's got some fast races going on. He wasn't that far behind Thomas Shelby last time. Maybe he gets more pace. We'll see if he likes a fast track.
And Hanale's Houdini to the outside for Mike Maker.
Well, it'll be someday for Mike Maker if this horse wins. He did run his best figure ever, losing to a horse in Maryland last time who came back to win the General George.
And as a 6-year-old, he's one of several in this group. That's the young man of this field. Got 6, 7, 9-year-olds in here as well. Grade 3 Essex coming up, 3-2 favorite. Warriors Charge. Jonathan, your thoughts on the Essex?
Yeah, look, I mean, I've always been a huge fan of Warriors Charge. I've always wanted to see, this is completely off subject, Warriors Charge go 10 furlongs. I just feel like these mile and a 16th races, they feel the pressure to kind of put him into the race. And I just don't feel like he's that same horse anymore. I feel like he's dangerous when he's kind of cruising on the front end. And look, he kind of started to have a little bit of an issue with braking. He didn't break particularly well last time. He's had a few starts where he hasn't broken well. Thank goodness he's drawn outside of Thomas Shelby if he thinks he has a chance in this spot. And he's a talented racehorse. But at the price, I just feel like you have to look elsewhere. It feels like the 3 and the 1 could hook up. We don't know what's going to happen with Plainsman, who I do like as well. But ultimately, I'm going to go with Rated R Superstar. He likes this racetrack. He runs well at Oaklawn Park. He's won 4 times. And he should get pace. Like Andy mentioned yesterday on the show, when you have 2 pace horses, sometimes one will just get loose, the other will take back. When you have 3, there's an increased probability that the pace might actually cook up a little bit, especially when you have horses that at one point of their careers, Thomas Shelby still now, Warriors Charge previously, were need-the-lead types. So basically, it's all about what's going to happen with these trips in here, and if that's the scenario, give me the 6 rated R Superstar.
Yeah, there was a time when Warriors Charge, doesn't matter if Thomas Shelby was in here, he would have been alone in front.
I agree. He's not that kind of horse anymore. We'll see what he does. I'm just starting to get concerned that Jonathan and I are agreeing on things. It's a bad sign for at least one of us, probably both of us.
The more time you spend together.
You know, we're becoming the same. I'm actually growing more hair. I'm dressing badly and I'm growing more hair. So, you know, I'm turning into him.
Let's go to Gary. Brad Cox, he's got 2 in here. Gary.
Brad, we got 2 horses in here, Warriors Charge and Plainsman, similar racing styles, perfect case scenario. What would you like to see, and what did you tell Florent and Joel?
Don't let the one get away. You know, one's going to have to keep him company and one can track, just depending on the break. Warriors kind of inconsistent with how he breaks. Plainsman's actually showed a little bit more speed as he's gotten older. So, you know, we'll see. 2 good riders. They can figure it out. They'll play the break and take it from there.
All right, Brad, thank you and good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I feel enlightened. How about you?
Well, look, we're looking at Plainsman right now, and he's actually become the favorite now at 9-5. They're both at that price, the stablemates. But that was fun to watch him and Thomas Shelby battle out all the way around the racetrack last time out, and now it might be 3 of them doing it today.
It was would have been a lot more funner if Thomas Shelby had held on. But you're right. That was, I mean, all kidding aside, that was a terrific race. I agree. And, you know, I think you hear in Brad's interview, and Brad is probably about as generous a person with his time as anyone you'll ever meet at the racetrack. I think you almost sense he feels sort of the way we do, right? That he likes Warriors Charge, but he just doesn't trust them a little bit, right? And how could you? He Obviously good enough to win this race, but when you don't win a race for as long as he did, and don't forget he lost it 1-2 twice in that run. He got placed first on one of the worst disqualifications I've ever seen in my entire life in a 4-horse field in the Phillip Island, but he lost it 6-5. Lost it even money to Thomas Shelby. You can't really trust him. And you know what? Plainsman's favored now, so you know, for better or for worse.
Yeah, to 8-5. Big shift there. And been pretty cool on Thomas Shelby throughout. I think we all are a little bit, but he's come down from 6-1. He's 4-1 now on the inside.
Yeah, I don't like him today, but I'll won't be shocked if I'm wrong here. Listen, Jonathan and I agree on Reyes, our superstar. He's supposed to get the better trip, and you know, make a few more laps around and get this race off in 5 or 10 minutes. We'll be fine.
He's going to be making that late run, Radar Superstar, 9-year-old who, you know, JK, it was, I think it might have been 3 or 4 years back when he picked him in a stakes race and he won at 18-1 at Oaklawn. And he's still got ability to beat a field like this.
I think you're thinking of somebody in the Rebel 2 years ago.
No. Rated R Superstar
really? Oh, okay.
won, a stakes race, an older handicap division at a big price on our show.
Amazing. No, he's amazing, and he's a funny horse, but he does show up. It's funny looking at him, Greg, because he's got some good races at short prices. I feel like he's never a short price, right?
Yeah,
and he's won some
respect.
Yeah. God, he ran a 50. He was claimed for $50,000 by his current connections, and they've done great with him. Jeez.
So he'll need a little help up front. We'll see if he gets it. We'll see if these 3, the 1 Thomas Shelby, the 3 Warriors Charge, the 4 Plainsmen, how tactically it kind of fits in here. We expect to see Thomas Shelby in front. And is Warriors Charge going to be the one to press?
I think he's going to have to, because I think what's going to happen is you're going to see Joel Rosario be aggressive. And assuming the 3 breaks cleanly, assuming they all break cleanly, it's going to force Warriors Charge to go. And I think that has to be Joel Rosario's plan to break. Obviously, you always hope you break sharply, but assuming they do, he goes when that horse when you have some speed and a horse outside you sort of forces your hand, it gets your horse naturally into the race. And I think that's going to force the 3. And if it forces him enough and they get aggressive, Plainsman can ease off a little bit. If it doesn't, then Plainsman will do the same thing he did last time. He ran him down last time while sitting outside of him. I don't know why he wouldn't do it again today.
It's fun. We have an opportunity to see Thomas Shelby, Warriors Charge, Plainsman, Radar Superstar for several years on our program, and see them grow up and move forward and put together these kind of resumes that they have. 3 of them millionaires. Thomas Shelby over $500,000 in earnings. There he is, the one.
Warriors Charge ran the Preakness and ran well in the Preakness. I think, did he run second in our Met Mile? How far back do we go? Not if he did. Oh, yeah, he ran fourth behind Vacoma. Fourth, excuse me. But, yeah, and you know, Plainsman, once again, won the Discovery at Aqueduct, the 3-year-old. Looked like he was on the cusp of things. Things didn't go well for him, but he finally got back into gear. And I think he really turned it around when they gave him back to Brad Cox.
Got to say goodbye to those watching on SNY. Going to be leaving us at the bottom of the hour, so hopefully we get this race in for you. We're back tomorrow on SNY 4 to 6:30 Eastern Time. Of course, coverage continuing on FS2. It's the Grade 3 Essex Handicap. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Thomas Shelby looked to the left right when they sprung it, and he is slow early, but now he has to go fast. Thomas Shelby with an awkward start. Warriors Charge is between horses, and Plainsman is 3 deep, and these 3 are going very fast. Then comes Popular Kid, followed by Hanalai's Houdini. Rated R Superstar is second to last, and the trailer is Beau Luminaire. Thomas Shelby did make the lead, but he had to run fast to get there. From Plainsman in second, Thomas Shelby a neck in front. Plainsman is second. Warriors Charge has been taken back off those 2, but he wants to go. Florent Giroux wants him to sit. Popular Kid is just in behind that one, and he's less than 2 from the front. Then comes Hanalai's Houdini. He's in good striking position, 5th with 4 to make up. 4 back to the 9-year-old Rated R Superstar. Beau Luminaire has trailed throughout. Half-mile marker in the 74th Essex Handicap. Thomas Shelby and Plainsman still 1-2 and trading punches. Thomas Shelby a measured neck in front of Plainsman in second. Warriors Charge is now asked to go after those 2, and he draws within a length and a half of the lead. Rated R Superstar is moving up, and here's Rated R Superstar up into 4th with forward momentum. He's got a shot. Hanalai's Houdini, Popular Kid, Plainsman strikes the front. It is Plainsman just in front of Thomas Shelby. Rated R Superstar and Warriors Charge. Beau Luminaire, Thomas Shelby counter-punching. Here's the old man, Rated R Superstar in the center. Plainsman is still there. These 3, Rated R Superstar. Beau Luminaire up into 3rd. Rated R Superstar. Rated R Superstar. How about that? The 9-year-old wins the Essex. Close for second. Plainsman, Thomas Shelby, and Beau Luminaire.
The old man of the group does it again here. Another upset for Rated R Superstar.
Yeah, and they went, I don't think they went super fast, but it was a contentious pace and much more than last time. Frankly, Tom Shelby was unlucky.
Got to say goodbye to those again watching on SNY. We're back with you tomorrow for Eastern start time. Coverage continuing on FS2 right after this.
Warfront. This son of Danzig ranks among the world's elite sires, ranked #1 by percentage of stakes winners, graded stakes winners, and Grade 1 winners. No stallion has a better strike rate. Recent top runners include Group 1 winner Homesman, graded stakes winners Master of Foxhounds, Ancient Rome, and Bombard. Plus Annapolis, who became his sire's 100th stakes winner. In the auction ring, his progeny continued to command top dollar. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Harris Farms, proudly standing Smiling Tiger, a triple Grade 1 winner, defeating Breeders' Cup champions Dancing in Silks and Amazombie, a leading California sire with over $9.7 million in progeny earnings, with 94 winners in 2021 and graded stakes superstars like Spice Perfection.
Spice Perfection wins the Grade 1 La Brea.
And Tiger Dad. Smiling Tiger, a leading California sire, standing at Harris Farms. It pays to be Cal bred.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2. We just saw a real good one in the handicap division. Grade 3 Essex co-feature on this Saturday card in Hot Springs. And Rated R Superstar 8-1. Upset, doing it again as a 9-year-old. It was the 2019 Essex he won at 14-1 2 years back.
Wow. I mean, Jonathan had another long shot winner somewhere? I can't believe this. These are, listen, I don't want to take anything away from anybody. And Thomas Shelby got left a little and he ran well in here. But if you don't love horses like Rated R Superstar, you just don't love the game enough, right? I mean, just a horse that keeps running these good races and keeps showing up and running these races. The pace materialized. He got a superb ride here by Cabrera. I mean, couldn't have ridden him any better than he rode him. This was fun.
Look, there's Saratoga, we always go there, and there's so many great sort of storylines at the whole meet. This meet has so many great storylines, and this is another one of them right here. A 9-year-old, he's got 2 wins at the meet now, both stakes victories, 11 wins in his career. He's already over $1 millionaire coming in. But this has been a fun horse to watch over the last few years.
And Greg, this is a horse whose career best buyer was 97. So there's an argument that right now, as a 9-year-old, he's as good, if not better, than he's ever been.
By the way, he was claimed.
Yeah, 50,000.
As an 8-year-old.
50,000.
At the beginning of last year.
So they have made, I'm just looking a little bit.
Went on to win $329,000 last year.
Well, he'd won a little bit early. We had 2 starts, so maybe he won 60,000. So he'd won 400. He won about $350,000 going into this race. Well, he just picked up another 300. That's a pretty good claim.
Jeez. Rated R Superstar does it again.
Amazing.
Big upset here. Jonathan, the 9-year-old, standing tall.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about him is as he wins typically at a price, he's never typically the favorite. And he does it from off the pace, which is like even crazier. I mean, a lot of times you see these horses who win at big prices. For me at least, it happens typically on the front end because these paces don't always materialize. But an old hard knocker like him, he just gets the job done, and he does it against good horses too. And it feels like every time when he wins, he was the best horse in the race. Like he didn't get lucky. He ran well in here, and what a cool horse! Like Andy mentioned, we get to see these 3-year-olds. This is a perfect time to bring this up. We fall in love with these Triple Crown contenders, but why not have some of these older type horses that continue to captivate us with their exploits? Rated R Superstar, really cool horse.
It's a great point by Jonathan, right? Because a lot of these horses we see in the Triple Crown Trail, a lot of them sort of disappear. And even some of the better ones don't come back. And you have to celebrate the horses, the Whitmores, right? I mean, the show the last couple of days has been a lot about Whitmore and celebrating him. And he's not Whitmore, but he's not bad.
$18.60 for the win, and able to stay around for this long and compete at this kind of level now as a 9-year-old. Just it's a great story for this horse. And props to these connections. We've talked about Danny Caldwell a lot on this program over the past few years. Very sharp owner. And doing his homework to get this one for $50,000 has paid off.
You pay a lot of bills when you claim a horse for $50,000, and over the next 13, 14 months make $650,000. It doesn't happen often.
Thanks to Frank Miramonti, too, for giving me that info on that previous win in the Essex.
Frank did something
Superstar.
Useful?
Absolutely, he did.
While he's calling the race at Santa Anita.
We got still the Nightcap to come in that 10th race we're going to get to in a moment. Cross Country Big 5. This was the anchor leg. $3,368.
You want me to do the math? 100, 700,
Favorite part of the
7,000,
show,
6,000, about twice the parlay. About twice the parlay.
I love it.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Did you play today?
I did not. I would also lost. I would have not had Reggae Music Man. You know what? I would have had everybody else. I wouldn't have had Reggae Music Man. No way I would have this thing.
Hopefully you had it out there. Fun to watch that one. We got still the 10th coming up from Oaklawn, 2-turn mile.
Pharaoh's hardest 1-9.
What's that?
I'm laughing because I asked the question on Twitter. People were talking about which horses were going to be under their morning lines. And
I thought this horse was unbeatable.
Yeah, I didn't think she'd be 5-2.
I also didn't think she'd be 1-9.
I also thought the chart caller would notice she stumbled to start.
Let's go to Gary Stevens.
David, the old 9-year-old Rated R Superstar. What was the difference today between the Razorback? He showed up. Take me through your trip.
The last time I kind of warm him up really easy, and he's good about warm up. is I did it the times before I rode him. And today I thought, you know what, I'm going to warm him up good because the last time he just kind of fell asleep, you know, at the gates and come out. And he was just going to sleep all the way around it. I mean, he came. We missed it by 2 lengths. But today, you know, we were sitting closer. When I tipped him to go up, you know, I had what I needed there. So that was great. I really want to thank, you know, my trainer, Villafranco, and all these people for the opportunity on this tremendous horse.
David, you've had a great meet so far. We're only halfway through right now. Continued good luck to you. You're climbing in the jockey standings every single day, and you can be proud of the ride you just put on Rated R Superstar.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it, man.
Guys.
Good for him. Big win here.
That was a great ride.
It really
that
was.
That was really, I mean, I know the horse won by a couple of lengths, but he did every single thing right. That's pretty cool. Look at him. Nice.
I love this show of emotion.
It's great. No, this was, I don't know about you, Greg, this was the highlight of the day for me. And I won a couple dollars in the race, which is nice, but that's just exciting to see horses win like that, an old pro like that, a 9-year-old, and you see these hard knockers show up, and he's at the top of his game as a 9-year-old. Congrats to the Connections.
Yeah, they were both, look, the Whitmore, too. I think we might have seen a horse who could be a real factor in the sprint division in Bob's Edge.
Oh, that was a thrilling race, no doubt about it. But, you know, so, yeah, no, I don't mean that as a knock on any other race we ran.
No,
that was just a really fun way to close these days out, and I think you're right. I mean, that's a very good point by Jonathan. And not, you know, we get excited with the Triple Crown races. We enjoy the preps and watch the horses and trying to figure things out. But these horses that stick around, that give us thrills for not a couple of months or a year, that give their all for 5, 6, 7 years, these are the horses you have to really, really learn to love and respect. And not necessarily always in stake races. Sometimes it's the 30 claimers that are running those races that are the really great old pros.
This horse was in for 50. As we talked about, that's where he got taken. And hopefully some of the more casual fans that watch our program starting to get excited about some of these other races. This sport is far from just the Triple Crown and the Kentucky Derby and the Belmont Stakes and all that.
100%.
Yes. Todd Pletcher, speaking of the handicap division, life is good. Ready to return in Dubai. He's got Colonel Liam as well. We'll talk about a big week ahead coming up.
It's a domineering display by the ultra-talented McKenzie. McKenzie Preservationist, Vino Rosso and Yoshida. McKenzie's in front.
McKenzie, they've done it. McKenzie has it by 2. It's McKenzie in a dominant performance. Pure class in the Malibu.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2, program brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. The Anointed One, Back in action in Dubai. Life is good. Getting ready to line up for the Dubai World Cup for Todd Pletcher after that win in the Pegasus World Cup. When everyone was talking about the showdown of the century between him and Nick Sko, didn't really materialize. Life is good. Got out in front. It was over early.
Yeah, I'm not surprised it was. This horse is so good. And, you and I were talking off camera during the break that, would he have been going for the Triple Crown last year? Would he have been able to win that Belmont, as strong a race as it turned out to be? And what's kind of cool about him running the Dubai World Cup and going 1.25 miles is, you never know what would have happened in Kentucky if he had gotten there. But I think a definitive win kind of answers the question that he would have kept on being as good at the longer distances, or at least 1.25 miles, as he was leading up to it. He's a machine.
He is scary good. The only defeat on his resume off that long layoff when he battled Jackie's Warrior in a grade 1 off the bench. And that was one of the most fun races we got to cover all last year.
Yeah, no, even
probably the Belmont would be the top.
Miserable in my apartment with COVID. I was excited watching that race. And I'm going to say that there's an argument that his loss is still one of the best races he ever ran.
Could be.
Incredible performance that day.
Well, because of the presence of him, it's a tough year to have a good horse in the handicap division this year.
So far.
If you want the big prizes.
Has dropped out to the back of
Charlie. He's going to line up against him. And, of course, he was in that showdown with Essential Quality of the Belmont Stakes. Was one of the great stretch duels that we had all last year.
And much like Curlin, whose connection sent him over early and had a prep race before winning the World Cup, they did the same thing. I'm not comparing him to Curlin, but I'm saying they used the same tactics. And I think he showed in this effort that he could put that loss on opening day at Santa Anita behind him. The problem with Hot Rod Charlie, though, is not just whether or not he's as good as Life is Good, because he hasn't shown to be. It's that his best races are being on the engine. He ain't going to be on the engine with Life is Good in there. And I don't think he wants to be.
There was an issue for Nick Sko, and now it's probably going to be an issue for Hot Rod Charlie. But he does have that win prepping there on the racetrack at Maydan.
I'm a huge fan. I love Hot Rod Charlie. I think he's a super cool horse. I'm looking forward to seeing him this year. But listen, I'm not making any kind of clever announcements. It's going to be tough to beat Life is Good.
Americans have done pretty well. The Dubai World Cup. Are we going to see another star get it done over there? Life is Good. Now with Todd Pletcher. Brilliant. And it's just neat that, he was the Breeders' Cup Third Mile winner last year. That had been the path that Nick Sko had taken. Breeders' Cup Third Mile, went on to win the Classic, and now that's the path that Life is Good is taking.
How good is that list, by the way, of horses that have won that race? It's an amazing group of horses when you look at it. Some of our better horses over the years, and I think of that Arrogate performance where he beat Gunrunner, who went on to be perfect after that, and Arrogate fell apart, but Arrogate's performance was incredible that day. I can remember watching Cigar winning it in bed on the old OTB network in New York, winning it, and how exciting that was when Soul of the Matter and Gary came outside of him, and how thrilling it was. Looking forward to it.
Sometimes you worry with horses every once in a while with speed because that have one way to go. You don't worry about with this horse at all because there's no one that can run with him early. He's so quick.
No, and they don't want to.
If you can't keep, Nick Sko didn't break great.
I don't think he broke that. I don't think they want any part of Life is Good early. And I think if you ask Brad Cox, that was their plan, to hope that by sitting behind him, if something went wrong, they could beat him. Because if they got involved with him, he might have gotten nothing in there the way he did in the Saudi Cup the year before. The reality is that Life is Good. You look at the pace that he set in the Woody Stevens. It was like 2 seconds faster the half than Gamine ran earlier in the day, that the horses in the Forego did. He is as fast a horse as there in racing, and he may be as good a horse as there in racing it well.
Meanwhile, on the turf, Colonel Liam back in action for Todd Pletcher. And what'd you make of his Pegasus victory?
I don't know who is in the turf over in Dubai. So for all I know, it'll be the worst running of the race, and I assume he's running the 1 1/8 race, not the 1.5 mile race. And that'll give him a chance. But his performance, and listen, I take nothing away from Todd. A great job with this horse to get him to come back and run as well as he did, having not run since the Manhattan. All of those are really, they're a credit to what a great trainer Todd Pletcher is, and what a good horse Colonel Liam is. He's got no shot over in Dubai. The good news for Todd is he'll have the Dubai World Cup after it, and Todd probably isn't overly optimistic about his chances as well.
Here are the Americans running in Dubai. So Life is Good, Hot Rod Charlie, Midnight Bourbon. Country Grammar ran very big.
He did?
For Baffert off the layoff. Interesting. And look at Dr. Shivel Heartbreaking defeat in the sprint to Aloha West.
Drain the Clock, who lost.
Well, he beat Jackie's Warrior when Jackie's Warrior didn't get out of the gate.
No, he got out of the gate that day. Then he cut him off, Drain the Clock. But that's actually a good plan. If you can cut off your cheap competition the way he did, you have a chance to beat him.
Wonder where Craig is. Talented, too. We'll see if he's up to that level of competition.
He's fast.
That's going to be a fun sprint.
Casa Creed coming over there for our man Lee Einseidler. Be fun.
Going to be a fun Saturday afternoon with a lot of money on the line.
You won't be
Dubai World Cup
leaving
Day.
your friend Andy.
I'm going to be gone next week, but I'll be keeping an eye on things. Look who's back.
Excited.
Early voting. Chad Brown, Klorovich, getting ready for the wood. Seems like all systems go. We'll have an update next.
Start spreading the news. If you're looking to win in New York, then breed in New York. To War Dancer, the millionaire son of Warfront, and New York's #1 sire of 3-year-olds. Breed to a proven performer, the #1 second crop sire at the Saratoga meet with multiple winners at Belmont and Aqueduct. Earn double the New York Breeders' Awards and participate in the New York Stallion Series with $2 million in purses. War Dancer, proud to stand in New York. Visit wardancerstud.com.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
Run Happy, the #1 second crop sire by graded stakes winners and earnings. Run Happy is represented by Smile Happy, the Kentucky Derby individual future pool favorite. A leading dirt sire and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful. Call Bernie Sams now and book your mare to Eclipse champion Run Happy right now. Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
We're back on America's Day at the Races on FS2. Thanks for being with us here on this Saturday afternoon. Triple Crown Trail, final stop in New York is the Wood Memorial, and that's where early voting is headed next.
He is a very dangerous horse, not necessarily because he's going to win the Derby, but you've got enormous speeds out there, but none of them, according to Timeform US, and I believe in their figures, his pace figures in this Withers were faster than Forbidden Kingdom ran out in California, than Epicenter has been running down at Fairgrounds, than Classic Causeway has been running. This guy is fast and he has stamina. This is only his second career start. Buyer figure of 87. We saw the 4th place finisher who tried to make a little run at him in the backstretch finish a decent second in last week's Tampa Bay Derby. We saw the 2nd place finisher, Uno Ojo, win a less than spectacular running of the Rebel, but win it nonetheless, and this horse toyed with him while setting a monstrous pace. You don't expect to see horses like this from Chad Brown, right? Horses that have this sort of unrelenting speed up front. But this guy is very fast, and his kind of speed and his stamina makes him a very dangerous horse, especially if he continues to improve.
See if he can take that next step. 2 for 2, both wins, and a mile and beyond. Won that mile and 1/8 Withers. And now a big test coming. He's going to be tackling Morello in that spot, among others. 100-point Derby preps, the big ones coming up. Florida Derby, Arkansas Derby, and a lot to be determined on who is going to be the favorite going into that first Saturday in May. It's wide open right now.
It is. Greg, I can't remember, and I've been around longer than you, but you've been around a while. Can you remember a Derby that at this point was as wide open as this one, or even close, really?
There was one when Kenny McPeak had a favorite 6-1.
Wow. Was that the year? No, was that the year that Icebox ran second to Super Saver, maybe? Because that year Escondarea got hurt.
Okay.
But no, I mean, there's 10 horses that could be favored in this Derby. Is that fair? Maybe even more.
Yeah, well, lots going to shake out. These 100-point races going to determine a lot. This last
Hopefully.
at Oaklawn, yeah, 2-turn mile, first allowance condition. We're up to Sun Isle Beach. By the way, the 5, I thought a big contender, 6-1.
Oh, I think it's a 2-horse race. I think the 7 Pharaoh Heart going to win. If she doesn't win somehow, the 5's going to beat her.
Yeah, 2-5. This horse was second at Crystal Ball going around the ground.
She's right. She stumbled badly coming out of the gate, and then she was 5 wide coming off a 10-month layoff and still almost won. I mean, she was unbelievable last time.
For Steve Asmussen, by the way, he's also got the stablemate Sundial with blinkers on, Ramon Vasquez.
The lesser half.
A real jewel, the 9.
No knock, just the lesser half.
Claimed off of Steve Asmussen.
A lot of Steve Asmussen in these races. Not surprising.
John Court will ride. Guana Kay just won last start at Oaklawn on a mile and a 16th in her 4-year-old debut.
Yeah, she's forwardly placed in here, but she's got her hands full, especially if the favorite. They've all got their hands full if the favorite runs her race.
And Ursulina Dwayne Lucas going to stretch this filly out. 16-1.
Well, she's up against it, but then again, we've seen him up against it before.
Coming in from the West Coast, Trouville, dangerous, getting back on dirt. Let's go to Gary for more.
Yeah, guys, Trouville, interesting story here. This filly, she's pretty much been forced to race on grass out in California. Mile races on the dirt were not filling. Leonard Powell had his eye on this race when it filled. Listen, FedEx planes are very expensive getting across the country. He decided to put her on a van. When she did get in, she vanned out here, and she's had all of her success going a mile on the dirt. So looking at her to run a big race today in this spot. Hopefully she does. The one thing I didn't like that I noticed when she came by in the post parade, she was really on her toes. Giovanni actually broke post parade with her, which you don't see happen often here at Oaklawn Park, but got her warmed up, and we'll see how it plays out. But I want to talk about Whitmore Day. Obviously a huge success. Bob's Edge, Rated R Superstar, come away winners in the stake races today. And listen, 37,500 people here today at Oaklawn Park. Guys, it was a fun day.
We've been looking forward to it for a long time, ever since they announced this day late last summer, and it lived up to the billing.
I agree. A really fun day. We've had some fun races here at Aqueduct, but a nice sprint in the Whitmore, and exciting to see him back. And then that Essex was really a memorably fun race, and I agree. A terrific day of racing all around, and so much more to look forward to, too. And the race is just going to get better and better. And, you didn't believe me, but it's getting greener on the infield here at Aqueduct. And next time I see you here, it's going to be lush out there, Greg. It's going to be like
first grass racing, how far off?
April 7th, we've scheduled it for. I mean, I suppose it's not impossible. The weather stays warm, that we could run a little earlier, but I would guess that Thursday before the Wood Memorial.
Jonathan, this 1-2 favorite, she looks imposing. Can anybody beat her?
Yeah, look, I mean, I've given a couple of shots today, so I can take this 1-2 shot and not feel guilty about it. Look, I think Pharaoh's Heart's going to be tough to beat. I almost forgot. I wish she would have won last time, where I bet her. Where I can't believe she went off at the price she did last time. She's just too talented. She's run too many fast races. She had all the excuse in the world to get beat last time, and she still almost won. Now, look, I mean, obviously, in her last couple of starts, she's broken slow. So I suppose that's something to be concerned about if you're interested in taking 1-2 here. She's going to need to pop away from there. Even if she does break a step slow, I still think she can win. But at 1-2, I don't think you really want to necessarily hear that. But I feel like she's going to win, so I'm not going to try to get cute and pick something else. I'll take the 7, Pharaoh's Heart.
I'm with Jonathan. I'm resting on my laurels of liking Rated R Superstar as well. I'm not trying to beat this horse, and to me, it's all 7s and 5s. There are faster horses in this race than Pharaoh's Heart, and she stumbled badly last time. I don't know why. I mean, I didn't look at the full chart, but it's not in the short comment, which is surprising.
There are faster horses in this race than
faster early.
Oh, okay,
I'm sorry, faster early. I don't think she's going to be. No,
I didn't know what you were saying.
Okay, excuse me. Let me qualify that a little bit. There are faster horses early, and hopefully we're going to get this race off momentarily, because we don't have a lot of time left, right, Greg?
1-2. I'm not sure. I believe we're gonna get to this to you no matter what.
Yeah.
But it looks like we're gonna make it either way. So you are gonna see this race to its conclusion here. There is the 7, that gray American Pharoah 5-year-old mare. She won her debut sprinting. Should have won last time out.
Yeah,
but it looked like it prime setup race anyway. It looks like she's better going longer.
Well, Jonathan mentioned the price, and she was like 6-5 or even money going the gate, and Joyful Cadence was the second choice. Those who won, and they just pounded Joyful Cadence, and she ended up. I agree with Jonathan. If I had known she was going to be $1.90, I'd have bet her last time and been annoyed like he was.
And very, very often, or you don't like to take 1 to 2. In this case,
I'm not betting against her.
Doesn't seem like a bad proposition.
Yeah.
Throwing her head around a little bit.
She's 1 to 2.
Oh, boy. Breaks through the gates. That's the 1 to 2 favorite.
Oh, jeez. Well, if for some reason we aren't able to show the race, we're still hoping to, but you can always go to the Naira Bets.
So we are off the air no matter what happens
yes,
in 2 minutes.
We apologize for that, obviously. There's nothing any of us can do about it. We know the race was scheduled for earlier, and this is things that happen in racing, and they're backing them out. So we're not going to get you the race. Go to the Naira Bets app. We apologize, obviously, for that. It's out of our control.
All right, so yeah, beyond our control, we have to say goodbye at the top of the hour here. Again, as Andy mentioned, head to the Naira Bets app, and you can see the conclusion of this race here.
I want you to know that Greg Wolf would have stuck around after 7. I would not have. I would have left. But Greg Wolf, the trooper that he is, he was ready to stick around until 9 o'clock if we had to wait for this race.
This was, look, we just talked about it, but a tremendous day of racing, and Rated R Superstar, I'm really happy for him. But I'm excited to see Bob's edge forward, what lies ahead for him in the sprint division.
I agree. And these deep closers, especially in sprints, are exciting. It's not always going to work out, but he was thrilling today. It was a very good race, and as you said, it was just a great, fun day of racing. It's rare after 3.5 hours of sitting here that you and I are in such good mood. Sometimes you're a little worn out. I feel energized by what took place today.
It was such a fun day. It was even fun for me to see Whitmore, who cost me the pick 5 for about $80,000 when he won that Breeders' Cup sprint.
He's not
I was still smiling. We are back tomorrow, 3 Eastern start time on FS2. We will see you then. I hope you enjoyed the program. Went off at 6-1. Mike Maker, Kendrick Carmouche, the great Whitmore making one more appearance. And that race renamed in his honor. Former champion, $4.5 million in earnings. Now Bob's Edge maybe taking the mantle. He was last early in that race in this swooped by everybody, and the 9-year-old, how about Rated R Superstar, getting the money in the Essex. We'll see you tomorrow.